Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn is calling for improvements to the nation's energy infrastructure.
We have had a Department of Energy cybersecurity project at Oak Ridge Labs, and I've been pushing to bring all of our national labs into a consortium to work on this, because securing our nation's critical infrastructure is going to be an imperative because of these bad actors that are out there.
Energy analysts say the impact on fuel supplies and prices depends on how long the pipeline is shut down. Deportations have reached an all-time low as a record surge of new migrants and asylum seekers continues at the southern border. Fox's Bill Malusian in Del Rio, Texas.
Border Patrol reporting that just here in Del Rio in the past week alone, they've been averaging 740 apprehensions every single day. The local sheriff here telling us he's never seen it worse and that human smugglers have been taking advantage. A semi-truck that got pulled over by local police after folks out there reported seeing people in the back of the truck. Police pull it over and there were dozens of migrants in the back of that semi.
Customs officials report 162,000 migrants were detained in April, but about 30,000 got away. 3 people were dead, including a suspect, and 2 others are injured after a shooting and fire in Maryland. Baltimore County Police say officers found an armed man outside a burning home in Woodlawn and shot him. The fire damaged 2 other homes. America is listening to Fox News.
Finally, get curcumin and CoQ10 together. Stop Aging Now brings you CoQ10 Ultra to fight inflammation and energize your body. Get a 30-day supply for 40% off plus free shipping with promo code FOX. Power and protect your cells for a strong heart, sharp brain, pain-free joints, and more. Nancy from West Virginia raves, CoQ10 Ultra helps me stay mentally and physically fit. Only from Stop Aging Now. Get 40% off plus free shipping right now. Go to stopagingnow.com and use code FOX.
The Equality Act is stalling out in the U.S. Senate. Democrats had hoped they could pass the legislation creating new protections for LGBTQ Americans this year, but Republicans warn it would open the floodgates for transgender athletes to play on female sports teams. A large piece of a Chinese rocket from a launch last month is expected to fall back to Earth this weekend. Fox's Jill Nato reports.
A 23-ton rocket core careening out of orbit and headed for Earth. We don't know where it's going to hit, but researchers think they have an idea as to when. The Center for Orbital Reentry and Debris Study says it'll be around 0419 Greenwich Mean Time. That's 12:19 a.m. Eastern Time Sunday, give or take 8 hours. Because the Earth is mostly covered with water, chances are it'll hit an ocean. And some scientists believe as much as 40% of it will get burned up in the atmosphere. But if it hits land, whatever's left of it is bound to leave a mark. Jill Nato, Fox News.
At least 30 people were dead after a bomb exploded near a girls' school west of Kabul. The Taliban condemned the attack, and there's been no claim of responsibility. A well-known billionaire hosting tonight's Saturday Night Live show on NBC.
Tesla and SpaceX billionaire Elon Musk will take the stage this evening to try his hand at hosting the iconic show, which also features Miley Cyrus as musical guest. The announcement of Musk as Saturday Night Live host has drawn criticism on social media.
I just heard the best sales pitch I've heard in a long time on an airplane. The flight attendant announced, if you paid more than $75 for your round-trip ticket, you overpaid. This is brilliant because everybody on the flight paid more, and I was struck by how all the road warriors stopped typing and reading and working and looked up. The announcement invited us to apply for the airline's credit card, and the sign-up bonus, enough frequent flyer miles for a free round trip. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade. With some banks offering free credit cards, $75 is an outrage for an annual fee, but a bargain for airline tickets. For more tips on communicating more effectively, hit survivalspeech.com, where you can see how I got the CEO of another major airline to shower me with freebies. I'm Holland Cook.
Jack Daniels announced today its plan to start marketing directly to children, adding, quote, "Why not?" Executives for the whiskey company told reporters that they've already slated dozens of television spots showing 10-year-old children drinking tumblers of Jack and Coke in playgrounds, and that the company was planning on, quote, "just seeing how it all played out."
Every year, Jack Daniels sells millions of dollars of great American whiskey to men and women all over the world. So, for our next ad campaign, we basically just thought, hey, why not just start marketing this stuff straight to 10-year-olds? I mean, if they catch us, but we'll see how far it goes, and hopefully we can sell some alcohol along the way. Sure, some parents groups could get upset, especially if we go with our idea of moms serving their kids cranberry Jack at snack time. But
in other news, a doomed rabbit will teach an 8-year-old a lesson about responsibility, and a torrent of soap issues from a wildly unexpected part of the dispenser. Well, that was it. It's all downhill from here, bud. For more, visit theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. You can call in, take control of the airwaves, and talk about whatever is on your mind. The number for that, 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. With you in the studio tonight, it's Aria.
And Conan.
And Conan, you've been playing a lot of Enderall lately. I actually got last Monday off, and I think it was last Monday. I don't know. Time is kind of meaningless for me lately, but I got a Monday off recently, and I spent it playing Resident Evil Village. It's not a game that I can recommend for people who don't have a whole lot of spare time.
I haven't been playing a whole lot of Enderall this week. I play, like you, like once a week, like maybe 2 hours, and then that's it. I mean, it is prime time gardening right now. I'm out there getting bit by the black flies, getting just a beautiful tan on my back. I got that farmer tan going on right now. Yeah.
See, I haven't been able to get even once a week lately. I mean, this was the first time I played a game, I think, since or seriously sat down to play a game since like August of last year.
Yep.
A lot of that was because, I had better things to do with my time or more interesting hobbies to do. Like I would play the guitar or something like that instead of playing a video game. But I finally did do that. And I can't, like I said, can't recommend it to someone like you because it's very Metroidvania style
it's scary.
Type of game.
Which is the one with this is not Village, is it? This is something else?
This is Village, yes.
Oh, so this is with the creepy,
latest one.
The creepy vampire girl who's 8 feet tall following you around?
Yeah, I don't know that it's really creepy. It is at first. It's very unsettling.
She's hot, by the way.
A lot of them are hot.
And with the Southern Belle accent, am I getting that correct? I've only seen like walkthroughs, real quick walkthroughs. I'm like, that's kind of.
She's not my type, right? But she probably would be considered hot by
what about the daughters? I haven't seen
the
any
daughters
of them.
are for sure hot.
So
I mean they're demon things, but that's one of my issues with the whole thing. The daughters are these in the Resident Evil universe. They're made up of bugs that release pheromones to mimic humans. It's to mess with your brain and make you think they're humans or something like that. It's all very stupid, and I would have been happy if they just said, oh yeah, they're witches, and we have witches in Resident Evil now.
They won't say witches.
No, they instead invent this crazy nonsense about bugs and pheromones. I'm like, can you just say witches? This is silly.
The only one that I ever played thoroughly was Resident Evil 4, which I really like, and actually I think there's a pretty good PC port that's out there. It's on Steam right now. I have it on my wish list, but I mean, always something else comes up that I want to play over top of that, so it's just I haven't gotten around to. But I mean, I remember that it was like a contagion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, aren't all
it's all about a virus generally?
But isn't every Resident Evil a different germ or something?
I think so. I think it started with a T virus and then it became a G virus, and who knows? It's all very silly, and I wish they would stop with that because
very well. Have you seen the movies?
No, I have with the movie
with the umbrella symbol being the exact symbol that Wuhan uses.
I have not seen that, but I'm not surprised. I mean, the movies, any video game movie is terrible. It's just a way of taking money out of Germany and moving it to the United States without having to pay a bunch of taxes on it.
Yeah, but Jovovich is hot. And she plays in a lot of gothy sci-fi types that I would rather watch than anything else that's out there. And she was in Fifth Element. Come on. But
I was never a fan of Fifth Element, man.
Whoa!
I have tried repeatedly to watch that movie, and I'm just like, this is boring.
Holy crap, man.
I mean, I was like a teenager when I tried to watch it, so maybe I should revisit it as an adult.
I would recommend a rewatch. It's got Gary Oldman, it's got Bruce when he still had hair, and he hasn't played in 100 movies, and this year. It was back in the day.
On the subject of Resident Evil 4, though, they are remaking it the same way they did 1, 2, and 3.
Curious.
So if you want to hold out on replaying it until the remake
and buy it for $60, no. When I can buy when I can buy the
okay,
old one
fair.
when I can buy the old one for $2 when it's 85% off.
I don't know, man. The Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remakes were
pretty good.
They justified the amount of money that I spent on 2 much more so than 3.
I'll wait.
Because 3 stripped out a lot of the content, apparently. But yeah, it's silly. Resident Evil 6 ends with this giant 80-foot tall praying mantis looking thing that got turned into that by some sort of virus. It's like, look, can we just stop? A virus isn't going to turn a human being into a giant praying mantis.
Speaking of bugs and bug girls with pheromones, have you heard about these cicadas?
I have not. Is there something weird going on with them? I haven't seen very many cicadas here in New Hampshire.
Exactly. Growing up in Florida, that was what you heard every summer when you walked out on the. Actually, you can hear them in the house. When you're watching a movie, you can hear these things outside. I used to refer to them as the Langoliers.
That was true in Mississippi as well. They were just everywhere.
Yeah,
just a cacophony of noise if you went outside after dark.
You look at any pine tree, and there's damn 50 of them. Their husks hanging off the side of them.
I hate their husks, man.
They're
just
cool.
so creepy.
This is the neatest part. So I'm researching the cicadas, and it turns out
just out of boredom?
No, well, that's all they're talking about. It's like, now they're talking about eating them.
Hold on, who's eating cicadas?
NPR. Of course,
Why?
This would be something that you need to, because they want you to stop eating meat, and of course, cow farts are destroying the world and all. Why don't you eat more bugs? This is one of their things.
Hold on. Because I don't listen to a lot of news or watch a lot of news or expose myself to a lot of news. Are you telling me that NPR is suggesting people stop eating cows and to start eating bugs instead?
This is nothing new. They've been talking about this for years, and it's not just NPR. It's all of these.
I know,
it's
but
all
I've been
these
ignoring them for years.
greeny type news. They want us to all live in cubicles
and eat bugs,
not own anything, rent everything from Amazon or whatever. Rent, not buy, rent, and they want us to eat bugs. This is their dream. This is Greta Thunberg's. This is her dream. She wants this for us.
Man, I got stuck behind a vehicle yesterday that I swear her license plate said for Greta. That was the license plate. And it was a hybrid. So, of course, for Greta.
And her trunk was partly open. It was full of gas canisters.
I didn't see that, but I could not help but roll my eyes that someone would buy a hybrid and then have the audacity, the arrogance, the self-righteousness to have a personalized license plate, which, by the way, costs more money than just using whatever New Hampshire language.
It's like $50 or something.
Sure, but there's also it wastes energy to get that personalized license plate.
It's always very ironic when I see liberty-loving people get the vanity plates. It's like, man, you just don't get it. I did see one really good one. It was Bitcoin. And I was all right. Okay, that's another $50 you could spend, especially if you're
just get a Bitcoin bumper
especially
sticker.
If you're a promoter of it or whatnot. But anyways, back to cicadas.
Yeah,
the ones that we grew up with, and actually we probably experienced the 17-year cicada.
Okay.
But the ones that we probably saw all over the pine trees was the 1 to 2 to 3 year
most likely
cicadas that are basically just coming out all the time. This brood, they call it brood X or brood 10, is supposedly going to be coming out real quick, very soon, and we might even get to see some here in New Hampshire. They're
and NPR wants us to eat them.
All of these elites, all of these, you know how NPR talking down to you like they're better than you. Of course, they want you and me to eat bugs, because they want to save the planet like that.
I don't know that saving the planet is going to be achieved by eating bugs.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of them, and they do have protein.
Sure. There's like 2.5 billion different insect species on the planet.
And there are plenty of other countries that do it all the time, except there's one thing they're forgetting. Most of the people who eat bugs in third world countries are poor because they can't afford to eat cow. They're either eating bugs or they're eating their cats. So the fact that these elites want us to stoop to this level when there's delicious cows out there, I mean, and I don't even, and you know, I'm a chicken rabbit guy. They are,
Sure.
if you want to get into meat, rabbits and chickens are the way to go as far as the consumption of the grain that they actually, it takes to create a certain amount of meat. So basically chickens is 2 pounds of grain to 1 pound of meat. That's a pretty good ratio.
Okay.
Rabbits is 1 pound of grain to, 4 pounds of grain to 1 pound of meat, which is, not that bad. A pig is like 40 pounds of grain to 1 pound of meat. That's a lot of food that they're eating. So yeah, I can see them really tearing up the planet somewhat. It's not what they tell us. But anyways, in my research for cicadas, I found a guy who was taking the bodies, the one we were talking about all over the pine trees, and he was making sculptures out of them.
Oh.
Which are sick. They're sick. I'll have to show you one during the break.
Are you willing to eat bugs to save the planet? 603-283-6160. Let us know what you think. I, for one, am not eating any bugs. This is Free Talk Live.
The Terran Federation and the Terran League have been killing each other for decades. Sheltered, wealthy, and light years from the threat, the members of the 500 have no interest in changing that. When Rear Admiral Terrence Murphy is given governorship of a backwater system, a risk-free path to wealth and power is his for the taking. But Murphy is a man of honor, duty, and responsibility. He intends to stop the killing, whatever the cost. Governor, by David Weber and Richard Fox, from BaneBooks.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
Free Talk Live.
We have been brought forward to bring out the truth.
I knew this was all right. What is the truth?
No, it's in the 2 books.
Oh, you've got to buy the books. Now, how much is somebody going to have to pay for these books?
It's right online. Depending on what country you're in, they're $26 a piece here in the United States, including freight.
Now, why would God put books out and require people to pay for them? What's the point in that? I mean, aren't there people out there that can't afford that?
Those of us here on Earth have had to put the material together and get it copyrighted and available.
Why would God want to copyright something? What's the point of that? I mean, wouldn't God want
anything on this planet has to be copyrighted to be put out legally by
That's
your
not true.
government
Not true at all. Not true, sir. Nope. You can put whatever you want out there.
Explain?
No, you let me explain, because whatever you want, you can put online, and nobody's going to tell you can't do it.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live with Conan and Aria, and you can join us 603-283-6160 if you're inclined to do that. 603-283-6160. And you know, Conan just reminded me that I have in fact eaten bugs before, and I'm not talking about like, you know, riding your bike and accidentally swallowing a fly or whatever.
It's motorcycle. Well, yeah, you can get them on a bike too, but you getting whaled in the face with a like a Japanese beetle or something. You're going 60 miles an hour on your bike.
That's why I bought a
sucks.
convertible instead of a motorcycle. But yeah, the Pink Palace Museum, that was, you know, it was the field trip that we went to every year at school. Sold these.
What is this place?
I don't know. It's just a museum.
Why is it called the Pink Palace?
I have no idea.
Is it only like very?
I was like 6, man. I don't know. I have no idea why it was called the Pink Palace, but that's what it was called. Huh. And they had a candy shop. And in this candy shop, they sold these cinnamon-flavored suckers that actually had the body of a cricket in it. And
why?
I don't know. A novelty item, I guess. But I mean, it was very popular among us because you couldn't... you were eating a cricket, but it didn't taste like a cricket. In fact, it just tasted like peanuts. Now, adult me wouldn't do that because I just have no desire to eat candy, first of all, but I'm not going to go out of my way to get candy that contains a cricket.
Now, all you kids decided to buy one of these suckers, or someone like dared you to do it, or everyone's just like, oh, look at that, let's try it. That looks good.
It was just pretty much what everyone did. Yeah, pretty much that.
Well, here's the thing. You said that was your only experience. Yes. Actually, if you've eaten anything,
sure,
it's a very good chance it's got some ground up bug in it. Lots of stuff, especially like flour. You know, and all. So basically, every piece of bread you've ever eaten has probably been has ground up stuff in it.
I've never intentionally eaten a cricket after those museum experiences, at least. So,
well,
I mean, sure, Snickers supposedly has the highest concentration of bugs of any candy bar. I don't eat a lot of candy, but
I love Snicker bars. That's weird to hear.
Just about all candies contain some amount of bugs in them. I mean, I probably eat hundreds of bugs in the course of a week or a year, just walking around doing my thing. Well, little tiny imperceptible gnats that I swallow whole.
Well, hold off, because, you know, if the Build Back Better types get their way, that's all you're going to be eating. No more meat. You can eat some vegetables. You can eat some broccoli.
I'm going to eat chicken and fish.
There you go.
Those are about the only two meats that I really eat.
I'd eat fish all the time if I could.
Oh, yeah, I love fish. And eggs, but I consider that to technically be chickens, I guess.
Yeah, what came first?
Yeah.
The chicken or the egg? Who knows?
But you have a list here. NPR wants us to eat bugs.
Well, this is actual. I think this particular site, I just pulled the first thing that Google told me to look at.
Sure.
It's by eatcricketster.com. I think they... according to some pictures, some thumbnails down the page, I think they actually process and make cricket flour. And basically, this is their attempt to entice the folks out there to maybe want to try it and maybe get on board with the Build Back Better lifestyle. But they have
now, cricket flour is ground up cricket.
Ground up cricket, yeah.
Why do they call it flour? Is it used to?
Well, yeah, it's anything that's ground up and can be used in baking can be classified as a flour, I believe. And then you have different types. You have wheat flour.
That's what I was curious.
Buckwheat and
I thought it would be more like a meat.
Well, it has a lot of protein in it. That's for sure, and it definitely doesn't taste like flour, which is actually bitter until you cook it.
I wonder what. So you've tried it.
I have a bag of it, not because I thought this was a good idea, but my boss, who knows how I feel about this, about the Build Back Better types, those silly elites out there who want us all living in cubicles, she thought it'd be funny to buy me a bag of cricket flour.
It sounds like I would get along well with your boss.
I think we have the same boss, actually. From the stories I hear about yours, I think they're probably probably on the same level. She stays in contact with him, makes sure that I go to bed on work nights, and and sends me memes, the kind of memes that I like that have cats in them or something. She's a duck lady, so I get a lot of duck pictures.
Does sound very similar to my relationship with my boss.
It's good. It's a good relationship. I like it. It's nice. It's nice to have a boss that you don't want to strangle, or every time you talk, it's like, oh, can you work? Can you work Tuesday?
And then my boss and I are going to a concert in Kentucky from September 23rd to the 26th.
Fraternization.
Oh, we've gone to concerts in the past, many times.
What's the company policy on that? Do what you do. Make sure that everything gets done at work, and then you can do whatever.
Yeah. I mean, she's married. I have no interest in her in that regard. So, I mean, fraternization, I don't know if that's even the right term, considering we're friends.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we've gone to concerts together. It's never been an issue.
Good. Well, this is a list of 12 reasons why you should want to eat bugs. Number 1. According to this article.
Yum, yum.
According to
Crickets
this article,
for dinner.
Number 1, they are delicious.
No, they are not.
They say they taste good, and they actually lay out some of the flavors. So crickets or cricket flour may remind you of nuts because of their nutty flavor. Red ants.
They do taste like peanuts. I will give them that.
So you do remember your lollipop or whatever it was from back in the day.
Yes, the cricket definitively tasted like peanuts, to the extent that there were rumors going around that they were peanuts that had been molded into crickets.
Interesting.
But no, they were actual crickets. But it did taste just like peanuts. It did.
Well, I mean, it's going to be basically, the way I see it, they're going to taste like anything that they eat. And it's the same with any wildlife. Your duck that eats fish is going to taste a lot different than a duck that eats only corn, pellets or something. And that's where that's where they explain that certain wildlife has a gamey flavor that is kind of off-putting, because we've been spoiled, eating all this livestock that's been basically eating corn their whole lives. And then all of a sudden you eat some venison, that's been eating, I don't know, berries and grass, and it's like, I don't like the taste of this. By the way, I do.
Sure.
But I don't love it. I'd rather eat some nice beef or something, but it's not so off-putting that I want to throw the plate down. But yeah, they taste like whatever they eat. And according to this article, red ants are creamy.
Ants.
And they have a lemony sourness. I know this. I have eaten ants, and they're sour. And I'm like, why would you eat these?
Are we talking about those big red ants?
Mm-hmm. What are they called? They're not carpenter ants? No.
The huge ones that are like impossible to kill?
No. Those are, I forgot what those are called. Some people call them cow killers, which is stupid because they don't kill cows, but they do sting like a mother. They're a velvet ant, called a velvet ant. And yes, they are huge. They look like
good save, by the way.
They look like red wasps without wings, and they have like fluffy bottoms. And
yes.
they're pretty unique looking. They're pretty cool looking. They look kind of They look kind of techie.
They do. I wasn't aware that they stung, though. I don't think I've ever been stung by one.
I think only one of the genders stings. I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up. I haven't seen one. Dude, this has been in New Hampshire almost a decade now. I don't remember anything from Florida except that there's a lot of bugs.
Yeah, I don't see.
And it's hot. And love bugs.
I don't see a whole lot of ants here, or any kind of insects for that matter.
Not at all.
Are you willing to eat an ant? 603-283-6160. Give us a call. Let us know what you think, because apparently the elites want you to subsist off of bugs. It's Free Talk Live.
Carl Watner, longtime proponent of a voluntary society, died last December. You may have seen his articles published on his website, voluntarist.com, in his newsletter, The Voluntarist, the Mises Institute, or elsewhere over the last 40 years. His newest book, I Must Speak Out, Volume 2, The Best of the Voluntarist, is now available via Liberty Under Attack Publications. This 430-page second volume spans the years of 2000 through 2020 and includes articles by Carl Watner, Hans Hermann Hoppe, Carl Hess, Benjamin Tucker, George H. Smith, Lysander Spooner, Pete Eyre, Joyce Brand, and many others. I Must Speak Out is for the newly initiated, the veteran voluntarist, or anywhere in between. Buy the book now at libertyunderattack.com/voluntarist. For more great content on building a voluntary society and for Carl's extensive archives, check out voluntarist.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Breaking weather news. Belize is sunny and around 82 degrees every day this week.
What's the forecast for your life? If current politics and economic prospects are cramping your freedom, escape to the tropics. ECI Development has affordable second homes for you to own or rent in Belize and other tropical countries. Places with stable governments and growing economies. Secure your freedom now. To find out more, send an email to ftl@ecidevelopment.com.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
Hey! You are going to love the movie Victimless Crime Spree. It's hilarious, heartwarming, and carries a ton of inspiring freedom messages. Feeling down about the lack of liberty in your life? You need to put on this film with some friends and have a good laugh. It's a true story about me and my friends in New Hampshire living free, singing, dancing, and getting arrested. Of course, it's all on video, and the bad guys, the cops, judges, bailiffs, and sheriffs, they all play their part like it's out of a movie or something. You would think we scripted the whole thing, but it's real life. Go ahead and have a watch, and if it's been a while, have another look. I guarantee you'll notice things now that you didn't notice before. And the best part is that you're going to walk away feeling a renewed sense of your own power. You are the master of your destiny, and you will be free in your lifetime. Victimless Crime Spree.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. You can call in and talk about whatever you want. That's 603-283-6160. And I don't know if people have been paying attention, but the union leader released an article today that accurately summarized the situation with Ian Freeman as being the prosecutors and Ian's attorney are disagreeing over what the bail amount should be.
Right.
The latest filing, I believe, was that the judge ordered that they have a hearing this week to settle that dispute. So it's hopeful that Ian is going to be released very soon. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to thecrypto6.com because the FBI and several other government agencies, they raided the studio. And, you know, I said initially that they were clearly trying not to take Free Talk Live off the air.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's not how it really feels to me.
It's complicated, right? I mean, and I was right. They took in a drone through this window, but they didn't damage any of this equipment, and all they ultimately did was unplug some stuff. But I was wrong. They were trying to not shut down the LRN studio. Their actions as of late make it pretty clear that they're targeting Free Talk Live.
Really?
And its hosts.
So that's
yes.
So how do you? Because I've always suspected that, but what is your proof?
If you look on Court Listener for the latest filings for Ian Freeman, you'll see that he's being denied contact with Mark Edgington.
Yep.
as well as Melanie, as well as myself. Obviously,
Hampton.
nobody. Michael Hampton, who does a lot of the back end stuff for the website and the automation program and stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty extensive, and it's half of the people listed there are closely affiliated with Free Talk Live doing this radio show and only this radio show. There's no other involvement with anything.
Yeah. I think I'm like the only one not on that list.
So they're not targeting the LRN studio because that would be too obvious. Instead, they're targeting Free Talk Live and our ability to actually continue the show. So we're running around frantically because among the terms, Ian's going to be under house arrest, which means he's going to be here all the time, which means I can't come to the LRN studio to broadcast Free Talk Live. So now we're scrambling to turn my music studio into a broadcast studio, which is relatively straightforward, but it's not cheap and it takes time.
What about Melanie? What about Hampton?
Well, Hampton doesn't host the show anymore, so
okay. I didn't realize, but Melanie very obviously does.
Yes, so I don't know. Maybe she'll just have to start coming to my place to do the show on her nights. I don't know, man. There's so much in the air right now, and it's not easy. We will do an episode every single day, no matter what. But where that's going to be broadcast from right now is up in the air. Mark has been broadcasting from an unspecified location Saturday and Sunday. He's having technical difficulties, though, but it's Mark. I don't expect to have those issues broadcasting from my studio.
Right.
But he has been having issues, which requires Captain to be in the studio. So that's not an ideal solution. Check out thecrypto6.com if you want to find out exactly what's going on. There's a lot of information there, or a lot of it can't even be talked about. So just go to Court Listener or Pacer or whatever you use and look up the case number. I'm not going to read that out loud on the air, but I mean, it's huge. It's 6 co-defendants, and it's all about cryptocurrency, and it's going to affect cryptocurrency for years to come. So check it out, thecrypto6.com. Let's go to the phones, though. We've got Nick calling. Nick, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey there, everybody. We all ready to eat some delicious scorpion like I did, you know?
Where did you eat these at?
Well, my dad's girlfriend had gotten me this kind of like candy that was an encased scorpion. And let me tell you, it tasted like dried wallpaper that was slightly salty. It was not delicious, and it was really weird. I mean, you know, that's what Bill Gates wants you to eat, you know? I mean, it sounds like such a great future that we're going to be heading towards.
Well, but it's only to save the planet, Nick. That's the reason why.
Yeah,
right?
You know, because we're the freedom-loving people, you know, and every time you love freedom, we go out and we enjoy things. Other people get upset with that, you know. People that are really unhappy, that get pies in the face like Bill Gates. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's why he's doing what he's doing, because, you know, he's been bullied. I've been bullied too, you know. I'm a nerd, but, you know.
Yeah, he doesn't go out anymore after that pie in the face. But
so, hold on.
But yeah, it really does. It really does seem like he was bullied, and now it's turnabout. He's taking it back to the people that he despises, us little people, and he's basically picking on us.
Hold on though. What pie in the face?
I don't even remember what it was for, but it was like 10 years ago. I don't remember what the argument was, but he walked out of a building and someone was there with a pie and got him good. Pie all over the place, and then he never went out again. I'm
okay with that. It's not nice, but a pie in the face isn't going to do anyone any sort of damage or anything like that. It's just going to inconvenience them. So if you have a grievance to settle with someone, I think a pie in the face is probably a pretty innocuous and minor way to settle that.
Yeah, it's better than a rock through the head or something, or or getting shot. But I think it might have been tech related. You know, Microsoft.
Yeah.
They rip things off and rechristen them as their own. So it was probably another tech guy who was upset that some of his software or something got stolen and repurposed. Nick, are you familiar with the reasoning for that?
Well, I definitely think that you're probably right about that. But I've seen a lot of people have speculated about it, but I haven't really gotten a straightforward answer. Although it might have something to do with the fact that Linux is a much better operating system in every single way, shape, and form that doesn't hide things away from you and doesn't spy on you. And, you know.
Yeah, I've always wanted to play around with Linux. I never have, because I I'm doing other things like gardening. But I want to start a diaspora pod for my family and other disaffected conservatives, because I have a lot of them in my family. And I found out I can't do it without Linux because there is no Windows option.
I've used Linux in the past, but I'm a gamer, so I'm sort of restricted to Windows as an operating system.
Yeah, agreed. I'll have to have Windows on one computer, but on my server, it's got to be Linux or because that's your only option if you want to do the diaspora.
Nick, thank you so much for the call tonight. The Microsoft is frustrating me, especially Windows, because the PC we use here to do the show is running Windows 10, and I have disabled the Windows Update process at least 4 times, and it keeps re-enabling itself, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be a violation of Microsoft terms somewhere, or some sort of legal violation. I don't know why it's doing that. I've never encountered that.
I have the same problem with mining software. Sometimes some of these programs, Windows sees them as a Trojan.
Right.
And I will go through all the steps, and I'm like, no, I have allowed this program. Please stop eliminating it and sending it to the stinking quarantine folder. I've told you specifically that this is an okay program. And 7 days later, a week later, it just decides it's usually after an update, by the way. It just decides, we don't like this guy, quarantine. And I don't find out until 12 hours later. I could have been mining, and I'm at work, and it happens in, whenever Windows decides to, update itself. Very aggravating.
Windows Update is the absolute worst. I did IT for 10 years, and nothing caused me as many headaches or problems as Windows Update, because it breaks way more things than it fixed, because they can't possibly test for all of these printers, all of these environments.
Graphics cards all the time.
Yes.
It's like new update that your old driver doesn't work anymore for whatever reason. So you got to usually go back. When you
Dude, Windows on my old computer, the one that I had when I moved up here that I trashed years ago, the driver situation for it, because of Windows updates and drivers updates and swapping out driver cards, it was so screwed up that I could no longer update or remove the drivers. The only option was to completely reformat the operating system, because Windows had just screwed it up to that extent because it didn't know what was going on.
The good old days. Used to be hard, by the way, guys. You millennials out there who just buy a computer and you never have to do anything special to it.
It did used to be hard, but now we have, just NVIDIA and AMD as the manufacturers.
Yep.
603-283-6160. We're going to talk more about reasons that you should eat bugs, reasons the elites want you to eat bugs.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, that's really the reason why I amp, is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Do you appreciate what we do? Help us advertise, market, and promote for just $5 a month at amp.freetalklive.com.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Free Talk Live. Arya had to step out for a second. Seems there's a cop out there. Not sure what they're after, but...
Something about paintball guns. I heard him.
Do we have paintball guns here?
No, but I mean, people egged our house, and I didn't see them going around knocking on each door in the neighborhood, but whatever. That was weeks ago.
I didn't hear anything hitting those sides of the walls or anything in the past 20 minutes, so very, very interesting that they would come pick on us. But, all right, bugs. Oh, and by the way, guys, the call-in number, 603-283-6160. You were trying to... We were talking about bugs in the last segment.
Who are you talking to?
You came in and you're like, I'm talking to you.
I know, but you didn't introduce me.
Oh, my name is Conan.
And this is Bonnie.
Oh, so this is our first time on the show together.
Yep.
Even though you're walking around always cleaning things and coming in, sticking your head in the door and giving little snippets. Like, for example, what do you mean we don't have ants here? I saw ants all day.
Yeah, I was killing ants all day with a mop today at my job.
Well, believe it or not, we're in New Hampshire. There are bugs. There are ants. But compared to what Arya and I experienced growing up, I in Florida, Arya in Mississippi? Alabama.
No, she's from Mississippi.
No, you were right the first time.
Was I?
Mississippi.
Okay. The bugs are everywhere. And there's different types, and they have a swarm attack, and they get in your car and your radiator. There's a thing in Florida. I don't know if you had them. They're called love bugs. Are you familiar?
Love bugs? No.
Love bugs. Supposedly, the urban myth is they were actually spliced together in University of Florida, which is in Gainesville, where I grew up. That's the myth. I don't know that this is real. And the reasoning is they basically mate, and they fly around. They basically mate butt to butt, abdomen to abdomen, and they can fly stuck to each other.
Ew.
And they're flying around, and they taste really nasty, so nothing eats them. The birds don't eat them, the frogs don't eat them, nothing. So there's basically a love bug season where you're driving, and your whole car will be plastered with these dead love bugs, and they have a sticky gooey blood that just basically sticks to everything and actually ruins the paint because there's like an acid in their blood or something. It's a real straight alien xenomorph type of a thing where it's the last thing in the world you want is to be driving around during love bug season, which is quite extensive. It's like at least 2 months.
What about June bugs? Do y'all know what June bugs are?
Not a clue.
Well, let me interrupt for a second to explain to Bunny, who's probably quite nervous right now, and the listeners who are probably quite confused.
Paintball gun. What's up?
Yeah, so suddenly there was a cop knocking at the door, and I was like, okay, let me.
Which is not a good thing in our current situation. It's not.
I didn't yell at him this time. So.
Where's my boyfriend? Oh, you locked my boyfriend up.
Well, did you do that previously?
Well, a day after the raid, 2 days after the raid, maybe like a week after the raid, a cop came to knock on my door to follow up with me about a report I left with him, and I just didn't know why he was there because I forgot I did that. So I was just like, Matt, there's a cop here. Get the F away from me. Leave me alone. And I don't know why I was doing it. It was just like a reaction.
In your boots, in your situation, I think that I would have been doing the same thing.
I don't really care though. Like, I'm not really sorry.
Well,
so in light of the recent vandalism here at the studio of people scattering trash along the yard and, stealing the peace sign and throwing eggs at vehicles, I didn't know what to expect. But evidently someone is driving around Keene with a paintball gun in a red Civic, and they're randomly shooting cars with paintballs, apparently.
So why are they bothering us?
Because they drove by and there were cars, I guess.
It
doesn't seem to be targeted at us on this particular
what is
occasion.
your convertible? What is that?
It's an Eclipse.
So nothing. Does it look anything like a red Civic?
Well, I was here doing a show, and I wouldn't shoot my friend's car with paintball guns anyway.
Right.
Did they go knock on everyone else's doors when not we, but when Matt reported the eggs? I don't think so.
I don't know, but I mean, it was a courtesy of Keene PD to let us know, hey, someone shot your car with paintballs. You might want to clean it off. Or
wait, whose car did they shoot?
They shot Roaches, and I don't remember her radio name.
Oh,
wait, just recently?
Khaleesi, wow.
Yeah, apparently it's sometime in the last hour or so.
Holy crap.
That's crazy. When I was driving home 30 minutes ago, I saw cops at this house and a bunch of old people outside with their arms crossed. Maybe they were reporting it. I don't know. But yeah, it's Khaleesi. That's her name. And she's going to be really upset. She loves her car.
But apparently, someone's just driving around shooting cars with paintball guns, and Keene PD is going around looking for paint on cars and stopping and letting people know, which is innocuous of them.
You guys ever been shot with a paintball gun?
Oh, yeah.
No,
I love paintball.
Heck
Me?
no.
Never. Pellet gun? Yes. No, or not pellet gun.
I think you and I had this
BB
conversation a long time ago.
I don't think so. But yeah, I've been hit with BB guns because that's what we did back in the early 80s because we were dumb kids and
I've been hit with a BB gun.
Yeah, there was rules. You were only supposed to pump it 2 or 3 times. None of this 10 pumps because that would really do damage.
I shot my own finger with a BB gun, but no bullet, just to see what would happen because I was 8. I don't know why I did it, and literally immediately it was I couldn't even make a noise. It was so much pain. I was like, why did I do that in my own backyard all alone? I have no idea why.
I got shot in my ear. And it was extremely painful.
Like the earlobe or right into your ear?
The earlobe, that little
dangly
thing,
part?
Yeah, that got shot. Man, that was a terrible place to get shot. But it could have been worse. I grew up with the kid who had
lost your eye.
Who had one stuck in his eye.
just like the movie with Christmas Story or whatever it was. You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
And the doctors wouldn't remove it because, obviously it would risk more damage to his eye.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Anything with eyes. I'd rather talk about bugs than BBs in my eye.
Was it in his eyeball or
No, it was just in the eye socket, sort of under his.
Is it still there? They finally got it out.
I don't know. I haven't spoken to him in 15 years.
Maybe his skin has rejected it by now.
Maybe
that happens.
Well, June bugs are little beetles, and they're green and purple, they're iridescent, and they just fly all around your garage, and they're just annoying. They don't sting or anything, but in June, obviously, or May, they swarm. At least in Texas and Tennessee.
Now there is something similar what you just described. It's called a Japanese beetle. They're a nuisance. They basically they swarm my apple trees. And when I say swarm, I mean you can almost breathe them in. But these are big monster beetles, and they go up there and they mate and they do their thing. And I go through systematically squishing them all.
Do they eat the apples?
No, they eat they just are a nuisance. What do they eat? I don't even know. But there's a trap. It's a Japanese beetle trap, and it basically has a fragrance that they really like. And people sometimes get these and hang them up on a tree. Don't do that, because here's what you do. You attract them. You attract every beetle in the whole neighborhood, and they want to come to your house. Now, maybe I guess if you put it way out in the woods somewhere, that might make sense. But don't. My neighbors, if you're listening, which you're not, don't set up a stupid Japanese beetle across from my fence, because that's retarded.
I find citronella fuel tiki torches to be a really great way of keeping bugs away.
Yep.
I have several of them, just around my back porches. So if I want to go out there at night, I just light one and the bugs leave me alone. The mosquitoes are kind of bad here, or not really, because I'm from Mississippi, where the mosquitoes are actually legitimately bad because it's a swamp. But this is technically a swamp too. And there are mosquitoes, but they're nowhere. Like, you'll get stung once a night.
The mosquitoes don't bother me at all. In fact, I saw my first mosquito today. It's the black flies.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
I
get stung, bite. and they do. You better believe it. The venom is potent. I wake up the next day bruised from these bites. It's just the weirdest thing. But they have a season. It's right now,
I don't
which
think
is
I've
when I
ever
want to
been
be
bitten or stung by a black fly.
Well, maybe your citronelle candles are working. I don't know that citronelle.
I haven't lit any this year.
I don't know that citronelle even works. I think it's a myth. I don't think they work. I'm researching currently.
It can't be a myth. When we played at Fork Fest, I mean, we had torches, we had lights shining on us, we had all sorts of LED stuff going on, and I didn't get bitten or stung by a single bug as we were standing up there.
Well, someone with tastier blood was probably attracting all the mosquitoes to them or her or whatever, and
It's also possible.
You were just lucky. I'm trying I've been working on concoctions for years, trying to figure out what works. Right now, I just ordered some lemon eucalyptus oil, which is supposedly, according to the FDA, and how can we even trust those nimrods?
Sure.
But according to them, it's the only natural occurring substance that will deter mosquitoes, and hopefully black flies as well. So it's probably in my mailbox right now. I'm going to find out whether this stuff works, because you know what? I can't handle these black flies. These are maddening.
I heard that Vicks Vapor Rub does that, but I put it on my legs last year in Texas. I guess it was pretty bad at that time, and it didn't work, but it did sting where I had bites. So don't do that.
I imagine it would sting.
If you know the secret concoction to solving my bug problem, please call in and tell me. I'll listen. Ari will listen. Bonnie will listen. But what kind of bugs freak you out? What kind of BBs and eyes freak you out to no end? Call in, tell us your thoughts. 603-283-6160.
A newly recruited search and rescue officer, Marshall Hunter was resigned to a life of rescuing wayward spacefarers and derelict satellites. But when a billionaire couple goes missing, his own ship is disabled during the rescue. With communication satellites suddenly failing and lunar mineral shipments disappearing in transit, the crew suspects it's more than a coincidence, and Hunter must choose between salvation and sacrifice to save his crewmates and their civilian charges. Frontier by Patrick Childs and BingBooks.com.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com. Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to mymagicmud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. mymagicmud.com, FTL20.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
A major energy pipeline shut down by a cyber attack. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. Colonial Pipeline says it was targeted by a ransomware attack that forced it to temporarily shut down a pipeline that stretches from the Gulf of Mexico to New York. The company did not say what was demanded or by whom. Tennessee Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn is calling for improvements to the nation's energy infrastructure.
We have had a Department of Energy cybersecurity project at Oak Ridge Labs, and I've been pushing to bring all of our national labs into a consortium to work on this, because securing our nation's critical infrastructure is going to be an imperative because of these bad actors that are out there.
Energy analysts say the impact on fuel supplies and prices depends on how long the pipeline is shut down. Deportations have reached an all-time low as a record surge of new migrants and asylum seekers continues at the southern border. Fox's Bill Malusian in Del Rio, Texas.
Border Patrol reporting that just here in Del Rio in the past week alone, they've been averaging 740 apprehensions every single day. The local sheriff here telling us he's never seen it worse and that human smugglers have been taking advantage. A semi-truck that got pulled over by local police after folks out there reported seeing people in the back of the truck. Police pull it over and there were dozens of migrants in the back of that semi.
Customs officials report 162,000 migrants were detained in April, but about 30,000 got away. 3 people were dead, including a suspect, and 2 others are injured after a shooting and fire in Maryland. Baltimore County Police say officers found an armed man outside a burning home in Woodlawn and shot him. The fire damaged 2 other homes. America is listening to Fox News.
Finally, get curcumin and CoQ10 together. Stop Aging Now brings you CoQ10 Ultra to fight inflammation and energize your body. Get a 30-day supply for 40% off plus free shipping with promo code FOX. Power and protect your cells for a strong heart, sharp brain, pain-free joints, and more. Nancy from West Virginia raves, CoQ10 Ultra helps me stay mentally and physically fit. Only from Stop Aging Now. Get 40% off plus free shipping right now. Go to stopagingnow.com and use code FOX.
The Equality Act is stalling out in the U.S. Senate. Democrats had hoped they could pass the legislation creating new protections for LGBTQ Americans this year, but Republicans warn it would open the floodgates for transgender athletes to play on female sports teams. A large piece of a Chinese rocket from a launch last month is expected to fall back to Earth this weekend. Fox's Jill Nato reports.
A 23-ton rocket core careening out of orbit and headed for Earth. We don't know where it's going to hit, but researchers think they have an idea as to when. The Center for Orbital Reentry and Debris Study says it'll be around 0419 Greenwich Mean Time. That's 12:19 a.m. Eastern Time Sunday, give or take 8 hours. Because the Earth is mostly covered with water, chances are it'll hit an ocean. And some scientists believe as much as 40% of it will get burned up in the atmosphere. But if it hits land, whatever's left of it is bound to leave a mark. Jill Nato, Fox News.
At least 30 people were dead after a bomb exploded near a girls' school west of Kabul. The Taliban condemned the attack, and there's been no claim of responsibility. A well-known billionaire hosting tonight's Saturday Night Live show on NBC.
Tesla and SpaceX billionaire Elon Musk will take the stage this evening to try his hand at hosting the iconic show, which also features Miley Cyrus as musical guest. The announcement of Musk as Saturday Night Live host has drawn criticism on social media.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeen.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeen.com.
A report released Tuesday by physicists at Stanford University revealed that the entire known universe, from the whole of human civilization to the totality of matter and energy, is actually the fictional setting of a cop show called Hard Case. According to authors of the report, existence as we know it was created solely to provide the framework for the primetime drama that airs weekly in a parallel universe, and that every historical event prior to the show's September 2008 pilot, including the Renaissance, World War II, evolution, the September 11th attacks, and the presidential administrations of Washington through Clinton, never actually happened and are merely part of the elaborate backstory crafted by Hard Case creator and showrunner Dominic Egan.
We used to believe that our universe operated under immutable laws of thermodynamics and gravitational relativity, but now we know everything just comes from the minds of Hard Case's 12 staff writers. Overall, it seems like a very well-written show.
Physicists have theorized that the universe as we know it will cease to exist whenever Hard Case airs its final episode.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, 283-603-283-6160. That's the call-in line. You can call in and talk about anything you want, 603-283-6160. With you in the studio, it's Aria.
And Conan.
And I have to... If I had more presence of mind, I would have actually put up my convertible top when I was out there, considering there was someone going around the neighborhood shooting paintball guns, and you can do a fair bit of damage to the inside of a convertible.
Oh, yeah.
With the top down. It was 80 degrees here in Keene today. Absolutely beautiful day.
Oh, yeah, it was hot.
It was definitely a day for driving around with the top down, and I did. And I got here, and it was still warm, so I didn't bother to put it up. I think I'm going to need to do that during the next commercial break, though. But my car wasn't shot with a paintball gun, fortunately, which is actually kind of weird because when they came by the studio, when someone else came by the studio to throw eggs at cars, my car was also not hit. Presumably, they didn't know that it was related to the show. Who knows what these people know and who knows what they're thinking. The same is true of these people who want us to eat bugs. These people from this Crickets website who are trying to sell you a cricket flour to make bread out of, presumably.
Oh, yeah, this is a total ad. These people are, well, you know, why did they even start the business unless they maybe believed in it?
I would imagine they have to believe in it. Yeah.
Cricket flour is going to save the world. So I think that this is just an attempt to basically sell cricket flour and also to work into their bias.
Do they really not realize how this works though? Like if cricket flour somehow became popular, we would have to have these massive industrialized cricket farms in order to fuel that demand or satisfy
absolutely.
that demand.
And according to some of the experts, you're supposed to really want to eat wild bugs. If you were actually...
They want me to go out and hunt for bugs?
If you're actually farming them, so that basically what's the big complaint with the poor old chickens? You got chickens who are in these little cubicles, standing one right next to each other.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
And they're, I almost said it, pooping all over themselves. And it's pretty wild. Especially, and since they're so close to each other, they can't really get away. So if you have a mean chicken, they're sitting there pecking on each other, and there's nowhere for them to go. So it's a pretty horrible life.
It is.
The good news is it's only like 11 weeks. Your chicken, your big fat monster 7-pound chicken that you bought at the grocery store,
full of hormones.
Just a baby. It's a baby. Well, I'm not actually sure. There's a lot of they vaccinate them.
Yep.
Not sure how many hormones are being pumped into them.
Oh, they pump them full of all kinds
into their
of
food.
hormones.
But I do know that it's a very sad breed. It's called the Cornish cross. The ones that you're probably eating, that you're snacking on right now at the house while you're listening. One of the main breeds is called a Cornish cross, and basically they grow so fast and they get so heavy that they can't walk. They actually break their legs as often if you go past the 11-week mark, past their adolescence, past into adulthood, they get so fat and so big that they just live horrible lives. Their hearts stop. You're familiar with giants.
I am.
And human giants, they don't really have a long lifespan.
And I'm familiar with the subject you're talking about. If you really want to learn how screwed up the food industry is in the United States, watch Food Inc. That's Food Incorporated,
I've seen that
Food Inc. It is absolutely horrific. And if that's not bad enough for you, watch the film Earthlings and try to walk away from that, not being a vegetarian or even a vegan.
But you did watch them, but you still eat chicken and fish.
I still eat chicken, but I don't eat that industrialized chicken. I mean, I can tell the difference, right? And anyone can. If you go to the supermarket and your chicken breast is 6 inches across one way and 9 inches the other way, what you've got there is a genetically modified chicken. I've seen chickens, right? Actual live, free-roaming chickens. They're not that big.
Yeah, they're abominations for sure. Now, are they lab made? And I also question how much hormones
Tyson.
are being used on them, but I'm not so sure about that. It's a secret breed. It's a secret heritage. They're not telling. I have a pretty good idea what they're made of, but no one really knows because it's a well kept secret. But no, it's natural selection. They've been bred over at least the past half a century. This particular breed of chicken, and they're just bred to grow really fast.
Well, they're also pumped full of hormones and stuff like that to make them grow to unnaturally large sizes.
Yeah, my birds, not these birds. They are out there scratching, and they're in the woods, and they're dust bathing, and they're fighting with each other and having sex with each other, and it's just you can tell they're happy birds, and they're half the size of this Cornish cross. You don't get a whole lot of meat on them, but that's just the nature of the game.
No, but you're not torturing an animal throughout its entire existence in order to sustain yourself either.
True that.
And that's where I come in at it. Sure, I'll accept that eating meat, killing an animal in order to eat it, it's probably unethical. It probably can't be justified because I could sustain myself without killing anyone.
But you're happy to kill your broccoli.
Well, yeah.
Which is
broccoli doesn't feel pain.
Well, maybe. We hope. Wouldn't that be something we find out in 100 years, that all this time the lettuce that we were eating was crying out in pain? And there is some truth to that. When a plant is damaged, it immediately tries to heal itself. It's sap is rushing to that breaking point, and the plant is trying to survive. So what if they are actually crying out in pain, that they're screaming in agony as you just broke a branch off? Wouldn't that be something?
They may very well feel pain, but a human can't subsist off water.
Nope.
So
or grass.
But that's just the way the universe is. That's just the way life is. Life feeds on life.
Correct.
I just don't want to torture things in the process of doing so. I'll still eat meat as long as I have good reason to believe that meat wasn't,
humanely raised and put out of its existence in a nice, humane fashion.
Yes.
None of this. I've seen some documentaries too, and some of these slaughterhouses are just, they give me the EBGBs.
That's why I prefer like Bardo Farms here in New Hampshire. All of their meat is, good. It's locally sourced. I mean, they grow it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's free range. They don't torture them, and they kill them as humanely as it is possible to kill something.
Yeah, I think that. But it's a dying breed. I think that some places it actually seems to be coming back. It's becoming more of the fad, and people are trying, not only a fad, but people are actually trying to live healthier and get away from some of the nonsense that we were just talking about. But, big business, big farm, they don't want little guys, selling their organic, free range anything.
Tyson and Monsanto have the food world on lockdown, and they want to keep it that way.
There's another. Speaking of Gates, who I believe at this point owns like 40% of all U.S. farmland.
Really,
he's been buying it up left and right. Why? Mr. Depopulation. And by the way, Nick, the guy who pied him, he was just a prankster. I think he was one of these radio hosts, a prankster, and he just decided that it would be fun to throw a pie at Bill Gates. But anyways, this guy we got to watch this guy.
It's weird that he's buying up farmland. I'll definitely give you that. Because Bill Gates is definitely going to fall on the side of, Tyson and Monsanto.
Oh, definitely. Most definitely.
They're doing this for our own good. They're poisoning you to save you because they love you. And if you don't want their poison meat, hey, here's a solution. Just eat some bugs.
No, that's what they want. They want us to eat because why? Number one, they are delicious, according to this stupid article. Number two, you're probably, and we already discussed this, you're probably eating them already anyways because they're in everything.
Yes,
which,
but not intentionally.
Exactly, which is why, well, that's not a good point. I'm not intentionally eating the stupid things. I don't want bugs in my food. I, try to prevent that from happening. So that's not a good argument at all.
And when people are told that they eat bugs, they feel grossed out because the idea of eating a bug is pretty gross.
It's not appetizing at all. Here's some examples of what contains a lot of bugs. Commonly found in chocolate, cinnamon, dates, coffee beans. I'm drinking coffee as we speak. Potato chips, peanut butter, broccoli, canned tomatoes, fig paste. Fig paste.
That doesn't sound very nothing with the word paste in it sounds appetizing.
Maybe they mean like fig jam. That actually sounds really tasty. Canned fruit, juices, and etc. So there you go. It's in everything you eat.
Sure, but I'm not intentionally eating bugs when I eat those things. 603-283-6160. This is Free Talk Live.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
The Terran Federation and the Terran League have been killing each other for decades. Sheltered, wealthy, and light years from the threat, the members of the 500 have no interest in changing that. When Rear Admiral Terrence Murphy is given governorship of a backwater system, a risk-free path to wealth and power is his for the taking. But Murphy is a man of honor, duty, and responsibility. He intends to stop the killing, whatever the cost. Governor, by David Weber and Richard Fox, from BaneBooks.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
It is Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. With you in the studio is Arya and Conan, and the end may be in sight. Evidently, Mayor George Hansel is willing to have a vote here in Keene about lifting the mask mandates. So we might actually be free to show our faces to people again.
Which should have never happened in the first place, because that's not how this state runs. Cities can't create these types of ordinances.
That's why I'm suing them.
Good. I don't
but
really
it's a
care.
slow process. Evidently, by the time it actually anything comes of it, the ordinance will have been lifted.
Or there'll be something else to worry about, like freedom papers. It's little golden stars on our lapels to prove that either we were vaccinated or not. We'll see who has the majority. Right now, I think only about 100 and I think it's up to a little like 110 million people have been fully vaccinated, which is an ungodly amount, and I didn't realize it was that high. But,
that's about 1 in 3.
Especially when you consider that kids don't get it yet. And guess what they just decided this week? 12-year-olds can get it.
Well, the vote could come as early as Thursday. Even if, the city of Keene does lift its mask mandate, though I'm still proceeding with the lawsuit because they had no authority to enact it in the first place.
Correct.
But you're right. The mask thing don't work. When I was out there smoking during the long break, I saw this. Presumably they were a couple walking, and I saw the dude touch his mask at least 4 times.
It's disgusting. So it really is like a diaper.
Within 30 seconds. And then he wiped his nose on his arm after touching his mask repeatedly, pulling it back up, pulling it back down. It's like, dude, it is a literal petri dish that you're breathing into and keeping at your body temperature.
Yeah. The one good thing about not having been in a grocery store in over a year is I don't see that anymore. I don't see my cashier touching her face. I'm standing in line 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I see her touch her face 6 times, and that's 2 minutes. And then she starts putting her hands all over my vegetables.
It's because masks are uncomfortable. The fibers are itchy. They have to be adjusted. If you speak, they move. It's not a good solution to the problem.
No, it's not. And I think that when they write the book and they finally figure out what science was right and what was wrong and what was speculation, I think they're going to say, oh, yeah. The masks were never preventing anything. They weren't keeping you safe.
I think they're worse.
And on top of that, they're worse. They're actually keeping all that bacteria, all that virus in your face, and you're constantly breathing it back into your body. I think there is science that says just that, except guess what? You're not going to find it on YouTube. You're not going to find it on Twitter. You're not going to find it on Facebook because it's not allowed, because it goes against.
It doesn't matter where people find it. All they have to do is take a look around. I've been to bars.
It's common sense.
Yes, someone reaching up and constantly touching their mask is spreading those germs directly to their hands and then directly to everything they touch. Yeah. There's just no avoiding that. This is why cities like Nashua, the first city here in Keene to impose a mask mandate, immediately had a spike in the number of coronavirus cases. And I don't think any other city in Keene ever reached the numbers that Nashua did.
Mm-hmm. And they're right there, too, next to Massachusetts, and, who knows?
I don't know, but yeah. I'm ready for the mask to go away. I'm ready to see smiles again.
I'm ready to see people again. I want these, especially these kids, to take the masks off, and they should never be wearing them. First of all, they're not going to get sick, But I mean, it's just
it frustrates me
the
to
development,
no end, man.
The developmental issues that lived in fear for it's 14 months now or something.
Yeah, and for a lot of kids, this is just what life is like for them. They don't know anything else. You know, the 4-year-olds, the 5-year-olds out there who are just now really becoming aware of what's happening around them. They've spent their most critical years wearing masks, disconnected from other human beings, being propagandized constantly that other human beings are to be feared.
Lepers. Everyone's a leper until proven innocent. We wake up guilty of leprosy every morning, and there's no really way around it. You're just a leper forever. Thanks.
That's how people are treating us.
And wouldn't you know it, was it last Thursday? Basically, the CDC came out and says, hey, you know what? That thing about wearing masks, first a week prior, they said, oh, you could take your mask off when you're outside walking by yourself on the sidewalk.
Yes.
And we laughed at that and joked about that. And then a couple days later, last Thursday, they just came right out and said, yeah, you don't need to wear your mask anymore if you've been vaccinated. And oh my God, the fallout from a certain group of people out there scratching their heads.
So the CDC has actually said this?
Yeah. Even Biden tweeted, he's like, the rule is simple. You don't have to wear your mask if you're vaccinated. And now you
this
have
bodes well for me because I know my boss is willing to lie and say that I have been vaccinated. If push comes to shove.
Well, this is part of the problem. You have a certain segment of the population, and we're really finding out how crazy they are. That they truly have. We were talking about liberal women. 60% of liberal women under 30 have claimed to have a mental disorder. And the question is, well, were you born that way, or is it the way you live your life? Do you live your life in fear?
Or is it just that they want to believe they have a mental disorder?
To be special, yeah. I mean, so you could look at that 3 different ways. But no, I was watching one of these liberal news channels, and they were talking about this new information, this new science, and they couldn't believe it. They couldn't accept it. Rachel Maddow was talking about. She literally said, "I don't understand this. I'm going to have to rewire my brain to make sense of this." She's to rewire.
But the science is settled, and the CDC shared the science with us.
The same people who've been claiming for the past year that, look at these Trumpers, look at these MAGAs, look at these anti-vaxxers, they just can't accept the science. What's wrong with them? Why are they so retarded? And now they are the ones claiming this science is wrong. They can't accept it. What is this?
Well, the CDC's guidance, recommendations, or whatever, if anything, is most likely to be a motivating factor for people to get the vaccine. I think that's probably what they were aiming for.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if you want to get people vaccinated, then you're going to have to offer them something. You're going to have to entice
it's a carrot.
them.
It's a carrot.
Yes. It's the carrot on their stick.
Too many pundits have come out and have said those exact words. We have to create this carrot. We have to entice the populace that if they ever want to go back to normal, if they want to go to concerts, if they want to go to the grocery store, and if they want to hug grandma, they have to take this vaccine. What happened all of a sudden to change this guidance? Like I said,
exactly that.
110 million have been fully vaccinated in this country. That's not the whole population. Why do they stop?
No, but it's a lot of the adult population.
And like I said, they've already opened. They just now here in our region, New Hampshire, they just opened. Governors like 12-year-olds can get it now. Start setting up.
I think one of 2 people.
By the way, which is child abuse. If you take your healthy child to get this stupid emergency use only experimental vaccine, you are committing child abuse and you need to be locked up.
I don't approve of locking people up, but I will say I think I'm one of 2 people at my job that has not been vaccinated. I'm also one of the few people who has had COVID-19 there.
You don't need it.
And I'm totally fine. I actually tasted something today for the first time in forever. It was the best sandwich I've ever eaten. It's Free Talk Live.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
On March 16th of this year, a joint government task force raided the New Hampshire Bitcoin Embassy, the Mighty Moose Mart, the homes of Aria DiMezzo, Andy and Renee Spinella, Colleen Fordham, a grandmother, and perhaps most relevant, the studios of Free Talk Live. The Crypto Six were arrested, most were released, but Rich Paul, also known as Nobody, and Ian Freeman both remain in custody. We've been in contact with attorneys that say no crime even appears to have been committed, but that didn't stop the Joint Thug Task Force from ripping out wires from the back of our broadcast stacks, taking Free Talk Live off the air, violating our and your First Amendment rights. You can go to thecrypto6.com and donate to fight against these charges. But as importantly, contact media and tell them about this outrage. This case is likely to set precedent for the use of cryptocurrency well into the future. Help our fight for liberty and financial freedom at thecrypto6.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. Talking about the New World Order for the most part here tonight and how they want to vaccinate you. They want to release these superbugs into the wild. They want to vaccinate you against them. And, you know, COVID-19, as far as superbugs go, is pretty lame as far as I can tell.
You think it wasn't deadly enough to really hit home?
I mean, it was deadly to 85-year-old geriatric patients.
Yeah, so is influenza.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. What was released, presumably, and we're going to get into this later, from
it's a growing. Actually, it's not a new theory.
It is not, but the lab leak theory, there may be some justification to it. Got to keep in mind, they said that this Wuhan lab works on bat coronaviruses that they experiment on
for years,
specifically bat coronaviruses. Now, more interestingly, the argument is that the coronavirus, COVID-19, originated with a bat,
and also the idea a pangolin. A pangolin. It's a weird looking, lemur looking kind of a thing.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
South Park really captured the.
I still haven't even seen that. I keep forgetting that's even a thing.
Your list is too long. I know, but no, we're talking about the CDC coming out and giving us new guidance, new science on Thursday.
But
what happened? What happened a couple of days before that?
I don't know.
There was the Fauci, Rand Paul back and forth, and there were other senators and whatnot who were grilling Fauci about his connection to the Wuhan. And then 2 days later, they just decide to hand out this new guidance. What's that all about? Or maybe they're trying to.
Well, we've got a caller, so before we get too deeply into that, because I haven't seen that back and forth, let's go to the phones. We got Major Payne calling from Michigan. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, peace, guys. Yeah, the reason the states that have released their populace from this lockdown are doing so much better than the rest of the states against the coronavirus, it's pretty simple. They're getting sunshine. They're getting vitamin D.
Yeah.
They're out doing what they're supposed to be doing.
They also vote differently, too. You think that has anything to do with it?
Well, I mean, I know how I voted, and I know how the libtards voted, and it wasn't the same direction. But I'm in Michigan. I think I wore a mask 6 times. Oh, Gretchen the Great's got no hold on me.
Yeah, it is so upsetting to me that all of the guidance that we hear from these specialists in the field is everything that we should be doing, or nothing that we should be doing. Like, for example, going out, sunshine, shaking each other's hands, actually working on our herd immunity. No. They want us all drugged up. They want us breathing old, nasty, stale air. They want us cooped up in cubicles. It's like, whoa.
Oh, yeah, they want a little bacteria greenhouse on your face. And it's scary. And they're doing this to the children. That's what's really sad. I mean, they're just corrupting the culture.
Yeah, I can't even begin to
make a bunch of lemmings. Let's all run off the cliff together. The sky is falling. The sky is falling.
Sir, how old are you? Did you ever experience the hiding under your desks nonsense back in the day, during the Cold War?
Yeah. When I was, I think it was kindergarten, we had to do that. Maybe up to 2nd grade.
Do you think it affected you?
Yeah, I'm 61.
Do you think it affected you in any way? Do you think you survived?
No.
Well, it's very similar in a way. I don't know, how long did that take place? Was it just kindergarten? That was it? Or?
Sure, but they weren't doing nuclear drills every single day.
Right.
And this mask nonsense, it is in your face.
And that's what I was asking. How long did that take place?
When it was really harsh, it was a little before my time. That was in the 50s during the Big Red Scare. I wasn't born until 60.
I've heard about this, though. It was a nuclear drill, like schools today do fire drills and evidently shooter drills and other stuff.
Yeah.
They used to have nuclear drills.
Yeah, they had a video with a turtle. It was telling you to hide on your desk because it might save you.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you want to know what to pay attention, you pay attention to the frogs, the small birds. You ever heard of the canary in the coal mine?
Yeah.
They used to take a bird down into the mine because that bird was so small, if it breathed just a little bit of that leaking methane gas, it would drop. And you knew to get your furry ass out of there.
Yeah. Bees too.
Yeah. Oh, but the bees are under attack because of Monsanto. And
that's one of the theories.
Roundup.
Yeah, that's one of the theories. Roundup.
No, it's driving them mad. They're losing their directional capabilities.
Well, I'm not sure. I think it also has something to do with what they're feeding their bees. High fructose corn syrup probably isn't helping the bees at all during the winter.
Well, exactly. You're right, and you're right back to Monsanto seed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're
right. You're correct.
Fall product.
Yeah, you're correct.
But anyway, as far as the vitamin D, there's one other thing, or a couple other things you need to be doing.
Zinc.
Our vitamins are deficient. You need to be eating selenium and boron, and a little vitamin K wouldn't hurt either. All right, peace out.
Yep.
Take
Thank you
care.
so much
Thanks
tonight
a
for the
lot.
call. I don't know if it's, I don't think the coronavirus is that big of a threat in the first place because, like I said, I've gotten it. So I don't know if having sunshine really helped me or not. I do drive a convertible, so I get a fair bit of sunshine.
Right,
Plus, I sit on my back porch enjoying the pretty days that we have here in New Hampshire.
I think just living a healthy lifestyle is going to really, because you know who's really getting the deaths?
Who?
The
old people?
Old people and obese people and vitamin D deficient. Those are like your three winners. Winner, winner, chicken dinner right there. If you're any of those things, you might die. But I mean, even when you consider that they're basically racking everything up to be corona, we know this. We know motorcycle accident guy was listed as a coronavirus victim. We know this. So, but even when they add all of those up, and flu, usually between 20 and 60,000 a year. It was 2,000 last year. 2,000. What happened to
the flu?
What happened
Numbers
to the flu?
were way down last year.
What happened? What happened to all of that? So even when you consider that they racked up the numbers still really aren't that much from year to year. Yeah, there was more deaths last year, but not that many more. Not the reason to shut down the whole damn economy more. And the damage. I mean, look at what we're dealing with right now. Look at the prices of things. You can also thank the printing of money, but I mean, this lockdown didn't help anything.
No, of course not.
People don't want to go back to work. So you have companies who are going out of business or they can't.
It helped the state.
Oh, absolutely.
It gave them a lot more power and a lot more authority, and it set precedents allowing them to tell us what we can and can't wear.
Absolutely.
But it didn't do anything for businesses. And now the federal government
except Amazon and Walmart.
Yeah. And now the federal government is, giving everybody
stimmy checks and unemployment checks, which, by the way, our governor, as much as I can't stand the guy, he is actually ending our $300 extra a month, or is it a month or a payout? Anyways, he's actually ending that incentive to not go back to work. Because if you're making more money on unemployment than you are working 40 hours a week, who the hell is going to go to work?
I mean, that's definitely the issue, right?
It's a huge problem across this country, and he has correctly put the spotlight on that issue that we're having, that people just don't want to go to work. You have businesses who have signs out on their front doors like, we're going to be open till noontime, and then we don't have anybody to run the counter. Please work for us. We're hiring.
As someone who works out there in the fields, I mean, I do see this stuff all the freaking time. It's just no one wants to work. And I can't say I blame them because they are making more money sitting at home playing Xbox or whatever it is they're doing in their spare time.
Yeah.
I would love to do that, but I'm just not the type of person to do it. I can't blame those people. It's not their fault that the government's paying them more. But people keep saying, oh, well, then increase the wages that you're paying people and they'll come back to work. Look, it's really not that simple.
That's a great argument, is it? Not.
It's not, because businesses in this situation are having to compete with an entity that can literally create money out of thin air. Businesses can't do that.
Nope.
They have to actually earn the money that they pay their employees. If businesses could just say, okay, sure, we can just create $1,000 a week to pay you, they would do it. But the government can do that. Businesses can't. It's not a fair competition. What are your thoughts? 603-283-6160. This is Free Talk Live.
A new Gallup poll found that the GOP has an overwhelming advantage among young people who look like old men. The poll shows Republicans hold a solid lead among the coveted elderly youth demographic, including 18 to 24-year-olds who wear suspenders and bow ties to class every day. I'm joined by Republican strategist Rob Powell. These are pretty encouraging numbers for the GOP, aren't they?
Yeah, of course, it's very encouraging. Millennials who look like they're permanently dressed for boat trips are a rapidly growing segment of the population.
And according to the survey, the prematurely aged are also very politically active.
Absolutely. Only about 20% of young people vote overall, but there's almost 100% turnout among youth that dress like a dad from a 1950s sitcom.
Now, what about the criticism that the GOP only appeals to white men?
Not true. We also have a lot of support among sorority girls that wear pantsuits and pearls, paunchy Chinese college students, and we're making inroads among African American ham radio enthusiasts.
This is the Onion News Network.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government, the real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. That's the call-in line. You can call in and talk about anything you want. 603-283-6160. With you in the studio, it's Arya and Conan. And, you know, it's frustrating to me to see so many of my coworkers vaccinated against, COVID-19. But it's also frustrating to me to see how many of them are upset that Sununu's mask mandate has lifted.
It's bizarre. It is absolutely bizarre.
I mean, considering that these are like college kids, right? We're not talking about geriatric patients here. We're talking about college kids who are calling Sununu an idiot because he lifted the mask mandates. Look, you can still wear a mask if you want to. I don't know why you can't. Just because there isn't a mandate in place doesn't mean you can't wear a mask.
Jokingly, we reported on an article a couple of weeks back about the girls, the DC girls, who did not want to be thought of as conservative. Yes. And we were just speculating on that. It was an opinion piece.
But we have an actual piece here that someone actually bothered to research.
We actually know that there are liberals out there, progressives or whatever,
yeah,
who have straight out admitted to it. They do not want to be conflated as being any type of conservative, because that's the people who aren't getting the vaccination. So how do you prove that I've been a good little soldier, I've been a good little slave and gotten my vaccine? How do I get to prove that? Unless maybe yellow stars are on their way. But just to, and by the way, we talk about sometimes, the chat room and some of the callers will call in and say, you guys talk about masks all the time.
Sure.
You know what? I think it's I think this is a very important argument, because this is the first thing you see of your fellow human beings. You can't tell if someone's vaccinated. You don't necessarily know what religious beliefs someone might or might not follow, or what their political opinions are, but you can tell someone across the store who's wearing a mask. You could tell a lot about that person.
Sure.
And
I mean, especially because they wear so much of their personality on their masks. Like me.
With their vanity masks sometimes? Or
yeah, I wear the NPC mask.
Right.
To passive-aggressively point out to people that, yes, I think wearing this mask makes me an NPC. Not thinking, just obeying.
Well, that's kind of where this article is probably going to prove that.
Sure.
But I mean, I think this is so important, because you can, this is something you can visualize right off the bat. You know what's going on. You know this person was probably one of the 26 out of the 40 who will kill you, who will electrocute you to death if Dr. Fauci was sitting there with his lab coat on and he told them to do so. These are the people you need to fear. These people are dangerous. These are the people who are going to have yellow stars out pretty soon, sticking them on unvaccinated people, and you're going to be getting trucked off in cattle cars. Because they think
I don't think it's going to get that bad, but there are certainly already examples of, locker rooms being segregated into people who have red stickers and people who have blue stickers,
right,
and where some of them have been vaccinated, some of them have not been. But the masks are going away. The mandates, at least, are going away. Whether or not the masks will remain, evidently some people want them.
Yeah, they want them.
So what does the article say?
This is from Yahoo News, talking about one individual who's refusing to give up his masks. Whenever Joe
he
Glickman
has the right to wear a mask if he wants.
Exactly. Whenever Joe Glickman heads out for groceries, he places an N95 mask over his face and tugs a cloth mask on top of it. He then pulls out a pair of goggles.
No, he doesn't.
According to him, he does. According to this author,
this dude's walking around in goggles and 2 face masks.
Hey, whatever floats your boat.
I guess, but man.
He has used this safety protocol for the past 14 months. It did not change after he contracted the coronavirus in November, and it did not budge when earlier this month he became fully vaccinated.
Hold on, so he had COVID-19? Is that correct?
According to him.
Why did he get vaccinated then? He knows he'll be fine.
He's a good little slave, doing his part to save humanity. It did not budge.
Stupid.
He became fully vaccinated. And even though President Joe Biden said on Thursday that fully vaccinated people do not have to wear a mask, Glickman said he planned to stay the course. In fact, he said he plans to do his grocery run double masked, good God, and goggled up for at least next 5 years.
Okay, dude. Sure.
I think they probably found one of the worst cases possible.
Yeah, but
they probably went to the grocery store and they're just sitting there like, all right, let's look for a real crazy. There's one. Here's one.
He's wearing goggles and 2 masks. That's our guy.
And he runs masked.
In 2 masks and in goggles. And he plans to do this for the next 5 years.
He's doing his part. Even as a combination of evolving public health recommendations and pandemic fatigue lead more Americans to toss the masks they have worn for more than a year, Glickman is among those who say they plan to keep their faces covered in public indefinitely. For people like Glickman, a combination of anxiety, murky information about new virus variants, the mutations, and the emergence of an obdurate and sizable faction of the vaccine holdouts means mask-free life is on hold, possibly forever. I have no problem being one of those people, said Glickman, a professional photographer and musician from Albany, New York. But I don't think I'm going to be the only one. I think he's right. Let's skip down a little bit. Last year's protesters staged rallies against official requirements to wear masks, built piers to burn them. Did you see any of these? I saw organized protests. I don't remember seeing anyone burning masks. So they were burning masks.
We attempted to burn one at Fork Fest before we did the Rage Against the Machine song "Killing in the Name,"
and the plastic started melting, and you realized
it just didn't burn.
Interesting. It's cloth. But as more Americans become vaccinated and virus restrictions loosen, masks are at the center of a second round in the country's cultural brawl. This time, people who choose to continue to cover their face have become targets of public ire, which I'm calling that as bullcrap. Have you given anybody the stink eye who's still wearing their mask and you haven't? Anytime this year?
No. I have better things to do.
In interviews, vaccinated people who continue to wear a mask said they are increasingly under pressure, especially in recent days. Friends and family have urged them to relax or even have suggested that they are paranoid. Okay, I do that. But not to like my coworkers. I have two coworkers who are always masked up. I've never like sat down with them and said, "Hey, look, you're suffering some type of disorder. You need to talk to somebody. You can talk to me if you want." No, I haven't done any of that. I'm doing it now, though, I guess. So I guess
it would be true if you said that, but you're not telling it directly to them. But I mean, they certainly do suffer from some sort of fear, hysteria.
Unwarranted in my eyes. But you know what?
It's completely unwarranted.
One of these girls, she lives off of NPR. That is her go-to news source. And if you've ever listened to it in recent years, they are total state propaganda. It's sickening. Not to mention
they're paid by the state.
Exactly. Not to mention you're getting talked down to by an elitist who's just I don't like. That's not entertaining to me. I don't want to spend my drive to work listening to some snob telling me how to live my life, to eat bugs, to wear your mask, to double mask and wear goggles, because that's what they do on NPR these days. And they get on specialists who defend their argument, which is, all right, this is stupid.
So why does this guy insist on wearing 2 masks and goggles for the next 5 years?
Well, part of the problem is it's hard to prove, and this is from all the news anchors that I've been watching in the last couple of days who are losing their minds. It's hard to prove who has been vaccinated and who hasn't.
Right.
Now the new orders is like, you don't have to wear your mask anymore, even if you are vaccinated. Meanwhile, I'm not vaccinated. I haven't worn a mask at all. So how do you differentiate me from the good slaves? And that's what they're worried about. They're in the store with me, sitting right next to me. We're in line waiting for the cashier to put her nasty hands all over my vegetables, and they don't know if I've been vaccinated or not.
So that is it then. It's
still
just that they don't want to appear as conservatives or libertarians or anarchists.
Well, in this case, one of the reasons is that's one of them. The other one is you can't determine who's been vaccinated. You can't determine who's been a safe, good boy or girl.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, is that I imagine that most of the people who don't want to wear a mask are also not particularly inclined to get vaccinated.
Mm-hmm. And here's another one. The Rachel Maddow spiel from a couple of days ago. She's been wearing her mask religiously for so long, she can't wrap her mind around being free. Which is basically what this is. And by the way,
well, that's typical for human beings, especially here in the United States, where we've been under this regulatory nightmare for so long that we don't know what freedom would actually look like.
This is Plato's cave. This is seeing the shadows on the wall and thinking that that's real. And you finally walk out into the sunshine and you're blinded. It's so real
and terrified.
Exactly. And this is what these crazy libtards. This is what they are. They are terrified. Oh my God. It's real. It's real. And I can't handle it. My brain is melting.
What are your thoughts? 603-283-6160. This is Free Talk Live.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the free private cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
A major energy pipeline shut down by a cyber attack. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. Colonial Pipeline says it was targeted by a ransomware attack that forced it to temporarily shut down a pipeline that stretches from the Gulf of Mexico to New York. The company did not say what was demanded or by whom. Tennessee Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn is calling for improvements to the nation's energy infrastructure.
We have had a Department of Energy cybersecurity project at Oak Ridge Labs, and I've been pushing to bring all of our national labs into a consortium to work on this, because securing our nation's critical infrastructure is going to be an imperative because of these bad actors that are out there.
Energy analysts say the impact on fuel supplies and prices depends on how long the pipeline is shut down. Deportations have reached an all-time low as a record surge of new migrants and asylum seekers continues at the southern border. Fox's Bill Malusian in Del Rio, Texas.
Border Patrol reporting that just here in Del Rio in the past week alone, they've been averaging 740 apprehensions every single day. The local sheriff here telling us he's never seen it worse and that human smugglers have been taking advantage. A semi-truck that got pulled over by local police after folks out there reported seeing people in the back of the truck. Police pull it over and there were dozens of migrants in the back of that semi.
Customs officials report 162,000 migrants were detained in April, but about 30,000 got away. 3 people were dead, including a suspect, and 2 others are injured after a shooting and fire in Maryland. Baltimore County Police say officers found an armed man outside a burning home in Woodlawn and shot him. The fire damaged 2 other homes. America is listening to Fox News.
Finally, get curcumin and CoQ10 together. Stop Aging Now brings you CoQ10 Ultra to fight inflammation and energize your body. Get a 30-day supply for 40% off plus free shipping with promo code FOX. Power and protect your cells for a strong heart, sharp brain, pain-free joints, and more. Nancy from West Virginia raves, CoQ10 Ultra helps me stay mentally and physically fit. Only from Stop Aging Now. Get 40% off plus free shipping right now. Go to stopagingnow.com and use code FOX.
The Equality Act is stalling out in the U.S. Senate. Democrats had hoped they could pass the legislation creating new protections for LGBTQ Americans this year, but Republicans warn it would open the floodgates for transgender athletes to play on female sports teams. A large piece of a Chinese rocket from a launch last month is expected to fall back to Earth this weekend. Fox's Jill Nato reports.
A 23-ton rocket core careening out of orbit and headed for Earth. We don't know where it's going to hit, but researchers think they have an idea as to when. The Center for Orbital Reentry and Debris Study says it'll be around 0419 Greenwich Mean Time. That's 12:19 a.m. Eastern Time Sunday, give or take 8 hours. Because the Earth is mostly covered with water, chances are it'll hit an ocean. And some scientists believe as much as 40% of it will get burned up in the atmosphere. But if it hits land, whatever's left of it is bound to leave a mark. Jill Nato, Fox News.
At least 30 people were dead after a bomb exploded near a girls' school west of Kabul. The Taliban condemned the attack, and there's been no claim of responsibility. A well-known billionaire hosting tonight's Saturday Night Live show on NBC.
Tesla and SpaceX billionaire Elon Musk will take the stage this evening to try his hand at hosting the iconic show, which also features Miley Cyrus as musical guest. The announcement of Musk as Saturday Night Live host has drawn criticism on social media.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Delighted health insurance executives gather in an outdoor coliseum to watch a patient battle cancer. And a self-conscious flasher is fully clothed under his trench coat. This is the Onion Week in Review. While stressing that they would absolutely never consider doing anything of the sort, German leaders quietly admitted this week that they were pretty sure they could carry out another Holocaust if they ever truly wanted to. Quickly noting that the Holocaust was an atrocity that should never be repeated, no matter how easy it would be to do so, almost all members of the German parliament discreetly conceded that with their country's dominance of Eurozone GDP, pulling off the unthinkable genocide would not be the least bit difficult.
I'm just saying, hypothetically, that we very easily could do it. I mean, we definitely have the infrastructure, and the concentration camps are still standing.
In other news, a so-called Christian has an erection. A new study finds more children are growing up in single-parent households. And a real-life Nancy Drew traces the source of her HPV.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. That's the call-in line. You can join the discussion and talk about whatever you want. 603-283-6160. And hey, if you're enjoying the show, you might consider coming up to Fork Fest. It's happening June the 28th through July the 4th at Rogers Campground here in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. You got to check it out. You'll be around other liberty-loving activists. Some people are calling it FBI Fest because I am kind of operating under the assumption that the FBI is also going to be there in some capacity, if just undercover or whatever. So, I mean, keep that in mind. It would be silly. It would be strange for them not to be, considering that the people who, essentially picked the dates for Fork Fest and have been promoting it for the last 11 months are going to be there. Well, I'm going to be there at least. Someone from Free Talk Live presumably will be there. And it may be me, it may be Ian, I don't know.
There have definitely been feds,
sure,
locals and national, who have shown up to this event to cause problems.
But don't let that deter you. The last time the police came,
they get run off. So it's the most amazing thing, especially when you got 50 people who all of a sudden swarm these clowns. Everyone's got their camera on,
with cameras
and everyone's like, "You guys need to go screw off." And you know what? That's exactly what goes down. They screw off.
Forkfest.party is the website for you to do that. Again, forkfest.party. Let's go to the phones. We've got Tom calling from New Hampshire. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live.
They just passed a law in South Carolina. You see, they got this thing called the death penalty, and the pharmaceutical companies were fighting back by saying, we're not going to sell you the poisons that you need for, the sodium pentothal that you need to carry out the death penalty.
Is that what what went down?
Yeah. The pharmaceutical companies stopped selling the stuff. So South Carolina passed a law saying that you get to choose whether you get the electric chair or the firing squad.
Jesus.
And, it's kind of like on Election Day when you get to choose between the Democrat or the Republican.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's pretty upsetting. You know what? I don't want to be executed. But if I had to, I would want the guillotine.
Yeah, guillotine victims were buried at government expense. This is a joke, that they were buried at government expense by the mortician who bids the lowest price per D capita.
Well, explain that. So the headsman was a mortician?
No, they were buried by the mortician who bids the lowest price per D capita. You've heard of per capita? You've heard of per capita.
Oh,
well, this is
come
per
on,
D capita.
Tom. All right, but yeah, the firing squad. So I guess it's your. Is that law been voted on and passed, or is it just that?
Voted on and passed. The governor signed it Friday in South Carolina, and so yeah, you get a choice between the electric chair or the firing squad, just like on Election Day when with ballot access laws and restrictions and everything, you get to choose between the Democrat or the Republican.
I am seeing classic black and white photos of Maoist China and Stalin's Russia and Hitler's Germany of firing squads where that's how you went.
I mean,
they're just bringing it all back.
Tom,
But it's quick.
Tom, I understand the analogy that you're making, but having to vote for a Republican or a Democrat is nowhere near as bad as having to choose between firing squad or electric chair.
Well, either way you lose.
Sure, either way you lose, but dying and getting an oppressive government are drastically different things.
Live free or die.
I'm with you on that, Tom.
There's that.
I would rather...
Have you seen some of these electrocutions that go wrong?
No, I try to avoid watching the torture of human beings.
Not to mention they're basically they just turn the heat on and it is frying you, and you just sit there smoking and bubbling. All your fluids are just bubbling out of your body. It's just who decided this was humane? It's like
I know.
especially when it doesn't work. And you're still sitting there kicking and throbbing, and you're still alive.
Let's change the subject. We've got Steve Ridley calling about Bitcoin Gandhi. Steve, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, guys. I just wanted to call in with a little update on your friend and mine, Bitcoin Gandhi, a.k.a. my big brother, Dave Ridley.
Ah, I thought Arya might have got your name wrong, but you are the brother.
Yes.
Hey, I'm the brother Steve. Yeah, I'm Dave's little brother. And, of course, you know Dave from RidleyReport.com.
Yep.
I don't know how long he's been doing that. I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, Ridley's early videos of his interviews with movers was one of the reasons I moved here.
Yep.
So he's out right now in New Hampshire walking dressed as Bitcoin Gandhi. And at least that's the last I've heard from him. I haven't heard from him in a number of weeks. I was actually wondering today whether or not he's okay.
Yeah, that is exactly why I'm calling. He's okay. But he does have some connectivity issues, so he hasn't been able to do a lot of updating. So I just wanted to call you guys, say, number one, he's okay. Number two, he would love to hear from everybody who supports him. And also, as he's walking through New Hampshire, which is going to take another 10 days, I think it is, and he's going to end up in Concord, he would love as much support as we can throw at him. And that's another reason why I wanted to call. As you guys know, and for anyone who doesn't know, Dave, he walks the walk. He's like the real deal. He believes deeply in nonviolent civil disobedience, and he is literally dressed as Gandhi, walking New Hampshire, like, I don't know how many, 20 days. He's got flip-flops on, okay, Tevas, and like a toga, okay. He's got the
he went all out.
I mean, he is all in. Yeah, you saw.
And the accent and the Gandhi mannerisms. Now, did he post his actual map on some site like Ridley Report, where he's actually showing where he's going to be on certain days and whatnot?
Well, almost. If you go to bitcoingandhi.net, and if you don't know, Gandhi is spelled Gandhi, bitcoingandhi.net, there is a map of his route, but he doesn't have dates and times. He's going to be stopping in towns along the way, but I'm working to try to get more information from his Telegram from him, stuff like that. But he is like in the middle of nowhere, probably. He's camping, and when he gets through to wherever he is next, I'll try to call you guys again. And also, we'll be posting at bitcoingandhi.net. But he would love it if people just showed up, listened to him talk a little bit, and cheered him on. And also, of course, he's doing this in the support of the Bitcoin 6. That we all care deeply about that, I think. And we really need people to come out and support him. And whenever you can, follow him a little bit through your town or go to wherever he is. Once we know where he is, I'll be posting that again at bitcoingandhi.net.
Cool. Steve, thank you so much for the call. I really wish that I did have an idea of where he was, because I could probably drive to him within an hour or so, because
Concord is only, hour and a half away?
Yeah, so he can't be too far away, and I would love to show up and continue showing my support.
Unless he's doing like a loop or something and he's walking all over the place.
I imagine he is. I mean, even walking directly to Concord wouldn't take 24 days.
Nope.
I mean,
do it in a day.
Yeah, probably.
60 miles?
But I have no way of communicating directly to him. I don't think I even have his cell phone number, and of course, I'm not on Telegram, but a lot of people are. So check him out, bitcoingandhi.net. There's also some Shire Society posts from him, but I haven't been to the Shire Society website in, let's say, 2 months and a day, actually, is how long it's been. It was, give or take. I don't check the site regularly, but I know he's doing updates there. That's shiresociety.com and bitcoingandhi.net. It's absolutely inspiring to see what he's done, and he has become Gandhi. I was fortunate enough to be able to see him off as he began his journey on May the 9th, I believe it was. So he's been out there a little over a week now. And it's a phenomenal piece of theater.
Yes, he's a character actor.
And I'm hoping it achieves something positive. And of course, the whole point of it is to raise awareness about the Crypto 6 and to make people aware of, just how violated the state of New Hampshire just was by the federal government, including running a Bearcat through the door here at the studio and driving a drone in through it. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's something.
What was done
it's
here.
like something out of a movie, except no, it's not. It really happened, and it happened in a neighborhood with neighbors.
Yep,
just sitting right across the street on their porch.
Something like 6 blocks were shut down or something like that. Absolutely insane. So
brought out all the toys. They love them.
Bitcoin Gandhi, if you're able to listen to this somehow, we love you, we support you, and we appreciate you. 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
A newly recruited search and rescue officer, Marshall Hunter was resigned to a life of rescuing wayward spacefarers and derelict satellites. But when a billionaire couple goes missing, his own ship is disabled during the rescue. With communication satellites suddenly failing and lunar mineral shipments disappearing in transit, the crew suspects it's more than a coincidence, and Hunter must choose between salvation and sacrifice to save his crewmates and their civilian charges. Frontier by Patrick Childs and BingBooks.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Do you feel like your nation, state, or community no longer holds your values? Have you dreamt of a place where people agree that liberty is important and are free to pursue their projects so long as they respect the property of others? There are many people just like you that are discovering freeprivatecities.com. Their social media links are at the upper right of the page at freeprivatecities.com. All skill levels will be needed when the first of the Free Private Cities opens. It's sooner than you think. Stop arguing and build. freeprivatecities.com.
I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents, It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160. That's the call-in line. You can talk about whatever you want. 603-283-6160. With you in the studio tonight, it's Aria.
And Conan.
And Biden has a stern warning for people. The unvaccinated will end up paying the price.
How's that? Are they going to die?
Well, President Biden highlighted on Monday that for the first time since the coronavirus pandemic swept the nation early last year, cases of COVID-19 are, quote, down in all 50 states. But in a pitch to encourage unvaccinated Americans to get their shots, the president warned that those who are not vaccinated will end up paying the price. And Biden, in remarks from the White House, also announced that the U.S. will share millions more doses of coronavirus vaccines with other countries around the world. The president highlighted that deaths are down from COVID by 81%, which he said was their lowest level since April of 2020. But he cautioned that, quote, I can't promise that will continue this way. We know there will be advances and setbacks, and we know that many flare-ups could occur. But if the unvaccinated get vaccinated, they'll protect themselves and other unvaccinated people around them.
But what are these consequences that he's talking about? Are concentration camps coming? Well, or he's just saying, oh, you're going to die. If you don't get the vaccine, you're going to die.
He warned that if they do not, states with low vaccination rates may see this progress reversed. Ultimately, those who are not vaccinated will end up paying the price. The vaccinated will continue to be protected against severe illnesses, but others may not be if you're not vaccinated. So he's simply saying if you're not vaccinated, you're at risk of getting COVID-19. And look, really, I think I'm totally okay with that. That makes it voluntary.
Is anyone out there familiar with Bill Maher?
I'm not.
Canceled his first show in 10 years.
Why?
He got COVID. Guess what? He was also vaccinated.
Really?
Why am I hearing story after story of whole baseball teams who have been vaccinated all come down with COVID?
Well, because it's a cold that rapidly mutates like other coronaviruses.
But they're vaccinated, so what's the whole point? Why you if you are so susceptible to getting this, if it's such a crazy bug that even the vaccine doesn't protect you, why is anyone getting it?
That's what I don't understand, right? The whole point of getting vaccinated is that you can't get COVID-19, but evidently the vaccinated still can get it. And I understand, it's only got a 95% effectiveness rating or whatever, But still, it is a cold. It mutates. It's going to mutate. And the vaccine that you got presumably is not going to be any good against some of the mutations.
Yep, and you're going to need a new variant every year.
The president
probably 2 of them and a booster.
The president stressed that we're not done fighting this virus. We still have tens of millions left to vaccinate, but we are making significant progress. But look, if you want to get vaccinated so that I can't give you COVID-19, that's fine. I will respect your right to inject whatever you want into your body, even if what you want to inject into your body is heroin. I don't care. It's your body. You inject what you want.
Yep.
However, if I want to run the risk of being susceptible to COVID-19, that is also my right.
My body, my choice. Remember that, libtards? Remember that?
I remember. I've been saying that for years.
They used to rail against all the wars going around the world too, and that kind of went away. So out of all of the groups that just basically change their minds, it seems every year, depending on, I don't know, what's going on or who's in charge, you guys need to, I don't know.
Biden goes on to say, in fact, when tomorrow's vaccination numbers come out, they'll show that 60% of Americans have received at least one shot. Biden also repeated his target date of having 70% of Americans receiving at least one COVID-19 vaccine shot by July the 4th.
Oh, it's so sad. And now, like I said, and like we were talking about earlier, now it's the kids. Because that's really what's keeping that number down. But I am I'm skeptical that many people have been vaccinated, because I don't know a whole lot of them.
I know a lot.
It's not 60% in my work office. What about yours?
It's well above 60%.
My family, it's like 5%.
It's probably 95% where I work, and my family's probably about 95% as well. I don't know because I don't talk to them.
Well, when I say my family, it's the other way around. Only 5% have gotten the shot.
Yeah.
The other 95 are like, nope, they're not putting any of that experimental nonsense in our bodies. There's no need. There's no worry.
Well, I'm certainly the black sheep of my family. So if I'm, against getting the vaccine, then it's just a safe assumption that they're probably for it. Not because I'm against it, but it's just I'm very different from all of them.
Yeah.
The president also announced that in addition to the 60 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine, this is the first I've heard about that. I've heard of Pfizer and Moderna.
AstraZeneca is the European variant that basically was creating blood clots in everybody, and they pulled it down. But they said the same thing about Johnson & Johnson, which, you know what? It was just a scam on the part of Pfizer.
Yeah, wasn't it like 7 reported cases or something like that?
Yeah, and there's more than that every single year of women on birth control.
Sure.
But yeah, that was a total hit piece as far as Pfizer's are concerned, because Johnson & Johnson's, guess what? It's just one shot, and just the one shot is cheaper than the 2 Pfizer shots, and it's especially cheaper than the Moderna shot.
And
these people,
it's more similar to a classic vaccine.
It's an attenuated, old school, live virus. So if as I said before, if it's the concentration camp if it's the firing squad or the stupid shot, I would take the Johnson & Johnson shot. None of this experimental stuff.
I would agree. If the choice was the Moderna vaccine or the firing squad, though, I think I would go with the firing squad.
Depending on we don't know. This has only been 6 months.
I know, but
we don't know the long-term effects of this.
And I'm not willing to inject something into my body about which I'm completely and totally ignorant of the long-term consequences of it. To me, there's nothing free in that. And
no, it's not, and that's correct. And there's nothing free about the masks either. Even though I saw so many Facebook posts today, it's like, don't you want to take your masks off? Don't you want to be free?
I am, but I'm not going to wait for the government's permission to do that.
Yeah, to that poster who was talking about we'll finally free, we'll take our masks off. No. If you're finally allowed to take your mask off because someone up above you decided that, it was a good idea, you were never free, and getting permission has just made you so unfree that I can't even fathom how enslaved you are to these rules, to this guidance.
Well, they have the freedom to request permission,
I guess,
and the government has the authority to deny permission.
A lot of plantation slaves would ask for Sundays off so they can go worship God or something, or have a picnic. And sometimes, you know what? Sometimes the master would be like, yeah, you know what? I could be a nice master. I'll give you that day off because, slaves revolt and you got to kind of keep them, you got to help them out every now and you got to make them feel like they're getting something out of the deal. Otherwise, they burn your house down.
So Biden emphasized that we need to help fight the disease around the world to keep us safe here at home and to do the right thing and help the other people. It's the right thing to do.
It's the patriotic thing to do, I said.
It's the smart thing to do. It's the strong thing to do. I still have no intention of getting any of the vaccines.
Yeah, Biden goes.
What about you?
He goes
603-283-6160. This is Free Talk Live.
Carl Watner, longtime proponent of a voluntary society, died last December. You may have seen his articles published on his website, voluntarist.com, in his newsletter, The Voluntarist, the Mises Institute, or elsewhere over the last 40 years. His newest book, I Must Speak Out, Volume 2, The Best of the Voluntarist, is now available via Liberty Under Attack Publications. This 430-page second volume spans the years of 2000 through 2020 and includes articles by Carl Watner, Hans Hermann Hoppe, Carl Hess, Benjamin Tucker, George H. Smith, Lysander Spooner, Pete Eyre, Joyce Brand, and many others. I Must Speak Out is for the newly initiated, the veteran voluntarist, or anywhere in between. Buy the book now at libertyunderattack.com/voluntarist. For more great content on building a voluntary society and for Carl's extensive archives, check out voluntarist.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Breaking weather news. Belize is sunny and around 82 degrees every day this week.
What's the forecast for your life? If current politics and economic prospects are cramping your freedom, escape to the tropics. ECI Development has affordable second homes for you to own or rent in Belize and other tropical countries. Places with stable governments and growing economies. Secure your freedom now. To find out more, send an email to ftl@ecidevelopment.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Never, ever send a follow-up email asking, "Did you get my email?" Email 101. If it didn't bounce back undeliverable, it got where you sent it. And avoid transmedia pestering, like calling to ask, "Did you get my email?" or emailing to say, "I left you a voicemail." If your emails and voicemails aren't being acknowledged, your problem isn't technology, it's technique. Is your message concise and understandable? Have you boiled it down to seem as relevant as possible to the recipient? In other words, is it the opposite of spam or junk mail? All of this really matters if you're a job seeker. But even if you're not, with money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, 603-283-6160. You can call in and talk about whatever is on your mind. I would love to hear from Dr. Dickey, the ghost hunter, again, because that call was super fascinating, dude. I don't...
Playing around or a real, legit...
It's hard to tell over the phones, but I mean, he seemed to be legitimate. And when he got the opportunity to talk about something that probably couldn't be discussed on the radio, I put him on hold, explained, and he changed the subject to something that was radio friendly. So I'm assuming that he legit is a ghost hunter.
Who you going to call?
It was last
Free
Wednesday's
Talk Live.
It was last Wednesday's episode. That's She Talk Live on Wednesday nights. I will make the new banner for She Talk Live. If I say tonight, then I won't get the chance to go home and play Resident Evil Village.
I know, right? You got to make decisions.
If I say tomorrow night, then I have to work Wednesday morning. This is why I don't get anything accomplished. How long would it take me to actually... It's longer than you think, because I have to figure out what in the hell font that is. Because I can't find it.
What did you say? His name was Dickie or Nicky? What was his name, the ghost hunter?
That's told. I have moved on from that.
Call back. I want to hear talk about ghosts.
Yeah, definitely call back. It was fun talking with you. But right now we have Vernon calling from New Orleans, if I can find where the mouse is. Vernon, you're on Free Talk Live.
So a few shows ago, maybe a few weeks ago, you all were talking about how to grow sweet potatoes in New Hampshire, and you all had mentioned how much colder it is in New Hampshire versus Tennessee, and I think the gentleman that was having that conversation with you was on tonight, correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. So I was just wondering if you all could maybe explain to us how that you all were talking about there's different zones, and I was just curious how those zones work, because
well, Conan can answer that very specifically, but I tend to agree with you. I don't think it's colder in New Hampshire than it is in Tennessee or Mississippi. It's during the summer and during the summer months. The difference is here in New Hampshire, we actually do get a spring where it's warm during the day. And I'm going to hate that I wore flip-flops and a skirt and just a tank top when I leave the studio tonight, because it's going to be in the mid-40s probably, even though it was 80 degrees during the day. In Mississippi, you don't have that kind of variance in the temperature.
It's just summer.
Yeah, it's just summer. If it's 80 degrees during the day, it's 72 degrees at night.
I was in Clarksville, which is northern Tennessee, and I believe that it's Zone 7, and they did have 4 seasons.
So
very pleasant seasons.
So in regard to these these zones, what are they?
That's basically just temperature zones. So to give you an idea, when actually it's focused on when your first and last frost dates occur. And here in Zone 5B, the last chance of a frost date is May 20, and the first frost date is, I believe, sometime in mid-October. And so basically, you don't want to grow anything: peppers, tomatoes, beans, sweet potatoes. You don't ever want to try to grow those outside of those frost date time periods. So yeah, you are correct, Arya. It doesn't. We have hot summers here.
Yeah, it hit 100 last year.
We also have really, really cold winters compared to something like Tennessee or Florida. Sure. But no, the zones are all about the frost dates and when you want to actually start taking your product out and putting it in the garden. When you start getting close to that date, for example, right now, 3 days from now is the last frost date. But if you know, Arya, that we haven't had a frost, it hasn't gone below 32 in like 4 weeks.
Yeah. So I think it's a safe bet that we're not going to get another frost.
Another important element about the growing zones is not just the temperature of the air that you breathe, but it's very important that the soil temperature is correct, because you can't even get a lot of different products. You can't. Bean seeds is a prime example. It wants nice, warm soil to germinate. If you put it in too cold soil, it'll just sit there. It'll rot. So
did that answer your question, Vernon?
Yeah. So the reason that you can't grow sweet potatoes very well in New Hampshire is because of the temperature. Is that correct?
I believe it has a lot to do with the soil temperature, and I've just been unlucky. I did. Oh, and on top of that, because I never buy, I'm not even allowed an Agway anymore because of the stupid mask thing. But typically, all of the potatoes that I grow in my garden have been from store-bought, from the grocery store, from store-boughts. Now they say don't do that because they put inhibitors on the potatoes to keep the eyes from growing. So you can't get sprouts. This is untrue because if anyone has opened up the cupboard and there's 3-month-old potatoes down there at the bottom, they've been in the dark, and you've got these long tendrils popping off of them, it doesn't always work as well as they say that it does. I think a big part of my problem is my sweet potatoes have been store-bought, and the inhibitors really, really, really work well on them, and they keep them from sprouting. The other problem is, like I said, it's the cold soil. I think the sweet potatoes just don't like that. A frost will decimate a sweet potato faster than you can blink.
But they did grow better in Tennessee, you say?
Oh, absolutely. They were growing like weeds.
So the temperature, there's that big of a temperature difference between Tennessee and New Hampshire in the winter primarily?
In my view, 1,000 miles away, 1,000 miles south of where I'm at right now, yes, it was absolutely what was the most important aspect was the temperature and the fact that there's there's a longer growing season. So you get like another month and a half of extra growing season, which the sweet potato is a slow growing product. And it really wants to have that extra month or two to continue to grow. It likes full sun too, by the way. Full sun.
Vernon, thank you so much for the call tonight. To clarify my point, it's definitely colder on average in New Hampshire than it is in Mississippi. And it's definitely colder during the winter months than it is in Mississippi, at least here in New Hampshire. But strangely, during the summer months, it doesn't seem that Mississippi is that much hotter than New Hampshire. Or during the spring.
I think you're wrong. Mississippi gets up past 100.
So did New Hampshire last year.
Like once?
No, for a solid 2 weeks at least. I had to buy another air conditioner for my house because the 3 weren't keeping up.
I have 2 wall units. I put one in my bedroom and one in my computer room. I used it like one time. I was kicking myself. I'm like, I just could have.
Yes, but you also keep your house at 52 during the winter.
I like this is true.
So you will probably sit there sweating in a 95-degree house.
No. That's where I draw the line. This is why I don't live in the South, because I cannot stand that icky nastiness. I can't stand having to take 3 showers a day because you walk from your damn front door to go get something out of the car, and it's just like it's just instant drench. Forget that nonsense. Never going back. And I can't stand the mosquitoes, and I can't stand. Well, that's it. Mosquitoes and heat, the humidity. It's nasty. I don't want it.
The mosquitoes, the humidity, the heat, and generally the people are the reasons I prefer New Hampshire over Mississippi or anywhere in the South.
I like their politics these days. I like this governor of theirs who's just like, no, you can't businesses, you can't mandate the vaccines. Just stop. And I don't think they ever had any mask ordinance, to even
Mississippi certainly did.
Well,
but when they lifted theirs, I don't remember exactly what it said, but it sounded like, he was saying, hey, there's anarchy now. I don't remember exactly. We read the tweet back when it was, back when it happened. Ian and I did. And the tweet could have been read in such a way that it meant that nobody had to follow any laws anymore.
You mean like our Keene mask ordinance?
Yes.
It's like all you have to do is lie and say that you have a medical condition, and you know what? They can't ask you about it. So I mean, it's like there's no teeth to it.
But businesses use it as an excuse to enforce it, and there are a lot of businesses that don't respect health exemptions, even though it's right there within the city ordinance.
Well, if you know a good lawyer, you could sue them.
Not really, because it's private property, and they can refuse to serve you for any reason they want.
Yeah. This is why I don't go in the grocery stores.
Yeah, it's a mess out here. 603-283-6160. Give us your thoughts on it. What is your solution? 603-283-6160. This is Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live.
The town wants him to stop. So he's charged with a misdemeanor and could spend 6 months in jail. 71 years old.
Nice folks there.
He's
wouldn't let
blind. That's his source of living.
Blind old man sells some firewood out of his front yard. Nice.
So now you're looking at having to go out, get a firewood permit, which is going to cost you X amount of dollars a year, and who knows how much research to try and figure out how to get the permit.
Just
Then
doing whatever they can to stop industry.
Yeah, then you have to go and get your education so you can actually run the saw, and then you have to get a variance on your property so you can actually sell the firewood from your property. Oh, and don't forget, if you have a storefront, then you have to pay $500, $600, $700 a month in rent, maybe $4,000 a month in rent, depending on what city you live in.
Gotta have an occupational license too.
Aggression like this by these government people happens all across the country, and you have to ask, how much more are you willing to put up with before you finally say no?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live. It's been Arya and Conan with you tonight, and I want to say thank you to Gage Bass, who's tonight's, could be Gage Bass as well, who is tonight's amplifier. This means that Gage is a member of the AMP program, which means that Gage likes the show enough to throw money at us to help us reach more radio stations, larger audiences, get our podcast more view, listens, all of that awesome stuff. It's the AMP program that makes all of that possible. Check it out at amp.freetalklive.com. It only takes $5 per month to join, and it gives you a number of cool little perks like an AMP-only call-in line, an AMP-only Facebook group for those still on Facebook, and even an AMP-only chat room on the Matrix server, which you can find at chat.freetalklive.com. But you shouldn't sign up for the perks. The reason you should sign up is because you value the ideas of having shows where people like Dr. Dickey Ghost Hunter and conversations about sweet potato. People can call and talk about whatever's on their mind.
Or bugs.
Or bugs.
Eating them.
I still don't know how we went down a bug-eating rabbit hole there for like an hour and a half that started because of cicadas.
Yes. You know what? Considering how much politics we discuss, sometimes I really want to get off the beaten track and talk about video games or movies or bugs, as opposed to Fauci. I'm getting tired of that fool.
Well, we certainly did that. And if you value that, check out the AMP program. Gage is a gold level amplifier, which means that Gage is giving $10 per month to the AMP program, and we appreciate that. We hope you continue listening to the show, and we hope you continue amplifying it. We do have David calling from New Mexico, though. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, you should be taking, or we all should be following the direction of famous communist Jewish communist Saul Alinsky in his Rules for Radicals, and as commemorated again by who was it? Another good Jewish politician, Rahm Emanuel. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Obama said it too. So did Churchill.
Yeah, but
exactly.
I thought that was Cheney.
Exactly. Aren't all politicians doing this, and not just Jewish politicians?
Well, the Jews are the worst. Like, I'm looking at a picture of Marx right now, another nice Jewish fellow.
I think that all politicians are equally awful.
Well, they're all equally awful. However, the Jews are, if politicians are awful, then Jews certainly like being awful because they're 2% of the general population, but they're 10, 20, 30, 40% of the power base in politics. So by your math, Jews are awful.
Another problem I have with that
is most certainly not my math, David.
Another problem I have with the Jewish question is everyone identifies, even if they have if their stepmom was Jewish, then they get to be Jew too. I mean, aren't the Trump kids Jewish, but not really?
Yeah, Kushner.
Yeah, everyone claims it.
It's actually quite interesting. The Trump had Kushner and Barr, and I'd have to get out my note. There's half a dozen other ones, but look at the Biden administration. Almost the majority of his cabinet appointees are Jewish. You got
I don't care in the least what their ethnicity or religious beliefs are.
Well, then you're going to get steamrolled. If you got to look at patterns.
They're politicians. That's what politicians
do. You keep talking over me. You keep talking over me. You got to look at patterns in order to see what's coming at you.
I look at patterns, but I don't focus on irrelevant details. We have politicians who love abusing power.
Well, it's not irrelevant. If somebody's coming at you, if you got an opposing force coming at you and they happen to have twice the number of tanks as normal, it means something. You got to look at what it is, break it down. I guarantee you your military is doing that. They're looking at exactly, your cops do it. You're talking about cops profiling people. If it's good enough for cops, why can't I do it too?
I have always been against cops profiling people.
Well, I'm just saying they're doing it.
I'm aware, and I've been against that. And now, are you in favor of cops profiling people?
I'm in favor of profiling so I don't get steamrolled, yes.
Are you in favor of cops profiling people?
Because not in the way that you're thinking.
Because they would make the very same argument that you're making. They'd be like, I'm okay for me so I don't get steamrolled.
The answer to your question is yes and no. Yes, I'm in favor of them profiling. No, not in an abusive manner.
Profiling is always abusive. It demeans the person. Yes, it demeans a person. Yes, it is. Good night, David. It demeans a person's individuality. It denies them the right to be an individual because you're judging them according to what you interpret a collective to be.
I disagree. I think it's a safety procedure to basically prevent, as he said, getting steamrolled. I think that when I walk into a certain area that I'm not experienced with, I don't know the people, I make assumptions. I based on stereotypes.
Yes, and to a certain extent, that's necessary.
For my safety.
Yes, to a certain extent, that's necessary, and that's just natural selection. The human being who couldn't be prejudiced against the bears died because they kept trying to go up and hug the big fuzzy creatures, right?
Actually, I think probably a better analogy is letting a bunch of strangers into your tribe, and then all of a sudden everyone gets sick. And it's like, well,
also true, but I don't want to target it at other human beings, right? We can look at the bear or the tiger or whatever wild dangerous animal we want, and we can recognize it's common sense that if a human being could not say, well, that bear may be different, but most bears will knock my head off, that human being dies, and that trait of not being able to make those assumptions.
Unless you're that grizzly man, the documentary. Did you ever see that?
I did not.
He lived with the bears, the grizzly bears. He went out there and was walking around with them and camping with them in the whole nine, and then they found his body a couple years later.
I'm not at all surprised.
It makes sense. And by the way, here's an even better one than like tigers and bears and oh my, spiders and snakes.
Sure.
And our inherent displeasure with them, and you have some crazy people out there who like them walking on their heads and stuff, and wrapping snake coils around their necks, and what's wrong with those people?
But it's different with animals because animals don't rationalize. Animals don't think. Animals don't try to better. And I realize humans are animals, so by definition, because humans try to do these things, animals by definition do, since humans are animals. But what I mean, non-human animals don't tend to rationalize things. They don't try to better themselves, and they don't try to make the conscious decision to be better than their peers. And because I know that people do that, I have to give people the benefit of the doubt, regardless of what stereotypes the wider society would have me believe of them. The individual can choose not to be that. The bear can't choose not to be a bear, but the trans person can choose not to be a raging leftist commie liberal.
But pretty much every animal out there has a pecking order. And they pick on each other like you wouldn't believe, and sometimes even kill each other, like their own kind. Yeah. And it's not something they're actually thinking about. It's inherent. It's in their DNA.
Right, because they don't have the capacity to think.
I know, but we're just doing the same thing on another level, but we can think about it. We can actually we can wrap our heads around it and make the decision not to do it.
Yes.
But actually going through the actions and performing those actions on our fellow human beings, it's like you said, animalistic, and it's natural. Profiling is natural, man.
I agree.
Profiling is a natural occurrence, and
that was my entire argument about the bear. It's natural to profile the bear, and it's necessary for humans for
survival.
Yes, it's a survival mechanism. However, I don't believe it should ever be extended to human beings solely because humans can improve themselves.
Like I said, we have the ability to actually not do it.
Yeah.
Which is, if you want to live peacefully with your fellow human beings and be a good neighbor, sometimes you have to turn off your animal lizard brain, and you actually have to do work to be a nice person. It's always like I've always said, it's much easier to be mean and nasty and ugly, whereas being a good person takes work. I wake up mean until I get my coffee, but if I actually want to be a good neighbor, I have to work to that. I have to actually go out and I have to put my smile on. I gotta be friendly. I gotta have a nice conversation and think about nice things to say. Otherwise, I'm naturally an ugly person.
It's certainly easier to hate than it is to love. I mean, it's easier to hold a grudge or to want vengeance than it is to forgive someone. But I would argue that in the long term, the people who don't forgive, the people who choose hate over love, are not doing themselves any favors and are, in fact, actively hurting themselves and making themselves worse off.
It's unhealthy. It's unhealthy to live in that mindset, and it just makes you. It goes to your body physically. Whereas being ugly all the time is going to give you. It's going to give you tumors. That's not tumors, but ulcers, because you're always, upset about everything.
So as a general rule, just smile and be kind to one another.
I can't really do it that well, but I can at least have a nice thing to say, like how's them Yankees, or I don't know sports. Sorry.
We should all strive to live in love and not hatred, though, because hatred is a poison and you're only poisoning yourself with it. Hey, thanks for listening to tonight. We'll be back same time tomorrow night. Online in the meantime, head on over to freetalklive.com, and you might consider again joining the AMP program, amp.freetalklive, amp.freetalklive.com.
The Terran Federation and the Terran League have been killing each other for decades. Sheltered, wealthy, and light years from the threat, the members of the 500 have no interest in changing that. When Rear Admiral Terrence Murphy is given governorship of a backwater system, a risk-free path to wealth and power is his for the taking. But Murphy is a man of honor, duty, and responsibility. He intends to stop the killing, whatever the cost. Governor, by David Weber and Richard Fox, from BaneBooks.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at MyMagicMud.com. FTL20 MyMagicMud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
A major energy pipeline shut down by a cyber attack. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. Colonial Pipeline says it was targeted by a ransomware attack that forced it to temporarily shut